Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexiot's here, and it is Thursday. So we're doing Thursday Think Tank, which means it's the call-in show. So you guys can call me on the phone today, and I will answer the phone. So at any point during the show, if you feel like calling, call in, and I'll put you on the air. And today we're talking about Derik Queen of Maryland Terrapins. Of course, he hit that game-winning shot in the first round of the NCAA tournament to help his team get past the Colorado State team, and it was impressive. But yeah, there's a lot to talk about with Derik. He had a comment yesterday in the press that's kind of not a good first step, and there's some signs that maybe he is not the one we want to get. Let's just put it that way. There's his stock is falling as we speak with the draft right now. He may be getting closer to being a 20th pick than a top 10 pick at this point, because apparently he had one of the worst combines out of everybody at the combine. And there's a lot of scout buzz right now that Derik Queen is unathletic and not necessarily like he's on a list that I just looked at with some real duds from the draft from the past, that he in some ways shows signs that he might be one of the busts, guys. Derik Queen. So we're going to look into that. If you guys have any opinions on Derik, you should call me today. And if you have access to the phone number, you're either in the Discord server, the Facebook group, or you are a channel member and can see it on the YouTube channel postings in there. So you can call me at any time. I'm not any format where I'm saying, no, don't call me right now. You can call me as soon as you want to. In fact, I'd love for Commissioner Jay to call me today, because I know that Trevor's been watching the combine pretty closely this week during the day on the NBA app and other places. And I would really love to hear what Commissioner Trevor Jay has to say about what he's seen on the combine, what players he's liked, what he has noticed from watching the combine. It could be, Trevor's going to summer league also. So he's kind of like the RFF, a little bit of scout. In some ways, you could do some Masai Ujiri work for us, Trevor, and let us know what's going on with the combine, eyes on the scene. And also, when you get to Vegas this summer for Summer League, we're going to be dependent on you. Trevor's saying some people are good at fooling others, but you can't fool God. Remember, he sees and hears it all. He knows the real you. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty on point right there. Yeah, it's kind of like Santa too. He knows when you are sleeping. He knows when you're awake. But it's true. I mean, in some ways it's like the things you do when nobody's seeing and stuff like that, I guess God is seeing, is what Trevor's saying. That's right. And hopefully, the evil that people are doing behind the scenes is going to be seen by God, and well, you'll get your just due at the end. That's right. Thank you, Trevor, for your words of wisdom. And let's see. He's saying Minnesota took care of Golden State last night, eliminated the Warriors. Coach Steve Kerr saying after the game, if Steph Curry had been healthy, we would have won. I'm so sick of that crap from Warriors, man. The Warriors always saying stuff like that. Well, it is what it is. Minnesota earned the right to go on in the playoffs by defeating the Golden State Warriors. And don't take that away from them, Golden State, with your BS. Seriously, y'all been kind of a half-assed team this whole year, and you got it to the second round. And honestly, that's way higher than I thought y'all would, because seriously, y'all been a half-assed team. I'm going to say this right now. The Golden State Warriors this whole entire year has not been that much better than the Toronto Raptors. I'm going to say this right now. The Toronto Raptors, the team that we root for, that did not make the playoffs this year, watching the Golden State Warriors and watching our team, I think, is better than the Warriors. Yeah, I'm bold enough to say that. I'm serious. I mean, we did beat them when we played them this year. So it's like, I'm just saying, I feel like we're that good. I think the Warriors name brand and NBA just trying to help them, gets them involved in the playoffs just because it's the Warriors and Steph Curry. But I'm going to be honest, I was not that impressed with them. They're continuing to slide since their last championship, just getting older. And honestly, the young crop coming up, other than maybe a couple of them like Pods, aren't really that worthwhile. So I'm going to say it right now. I declare this right now. Even though the Warriors got eliminated from the playoffs last night, the Toronto Raptors are a better team than the Warriors right now. Yep. Yep. And I'm saying that without even knowing what's going to happen next year with Brandon Ingram. I'm just saying that right now. I'm saying that. I said that without Brandon Ingram. We were a better team than them this year. How about that? How about that, Golden State? That's right. Trevor's saying, let's see if OKC can take care of the Nuggets tonight. That's right. Another game tonight. The NBA playoffs roll on. And this will be Oklahoma City at Denver, game number 6. And this is Oklahoma City up 3-2 over the Nuggets. And Mark Davis is the crew chief. He favors the Nuggets, but not by much. He has some favor for the Thunder also. Kevin Scott is the referee. He heavily favors the Thunder. The Thunder are actually statistically the best record under referee Kevin Scott. So he's a very favorable ref for the Thunder. And then Mitchell Irvin, Drake lover, is the third referee, and he favors Denver. So we got 2 refs that kind of favor Denver. And then Kevin Scott, he's really, really been good for the Thunder in his history. The replay center will have Tony Brothers sitting at the monitor watching from far away. So, yeah, the alternate is Sean Corbin. So, yeah, there you go. The crew chief is Mark Davis with Kevin Scott and Mitchell Irvin. And 2 of them are more favoring Denver. And then Kevin Scott favoring Thunder. There you go. There you go. Yeah, we'll have to see what happens tonight. Of course, it's in Denver. So Oklahoma City could eliminate Jokic and his team on their own home court. And then immediately after the game, when OKC defeats Denver, they'll say, you're the MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And they'll trot out that award and give it to him right then. You defeated Jokic. You are MVP now, sir. There you go. Yeah. Trevor J saying WNBA Liberty. Bettina Laney Hamilton had surgery and is out for the season. I don't know who's got that player on their team. Somebody got that player on their team on their WNBA fantasy. We have 2 more teams we still need to go over, but I just haven't done it. There's 2 other teams rosters we just haven't looked at yet. I wonder who has that player. Seriously, I wonder who does, because somebody probably does have that player on their team. And they're going to need to know that that player is not going to play. We didn't go over Race Mode Daily's team or Logical Raptors Fanatics team. So maybe we'll do a Logical Raptors Fanatics team real quick, Trevor. This is a Logical Raptors Fanatics team. He has got Arike Angwambawali of Dallas, Nneka Ogwumike of Seattle, Megan Gustafson of Las Vegas, Alicia Gray, who's playing for the Atlanta Dream this year, Natasha Howard of Indiana, Sonia Citrone of Washington, Julie Van Loo of the Valkyries, Tyasha Harris, Erica Wheeler, Svengi Ozun, and Zia Cook. That's a Logical Raptors Fanatics team for the WNBA draft. Now, I'm trying to look for that Liberty player that you just named to see if anybody's got them on their team. And it looks like, who is it? It's Laney Hamilton. It looks like maybe nobody does have that player. That player may be on the waiver wire. I don't see them on anybody's list right now. But yeah, I don't know what you think of Mike's WNBA team. He just kind of auto-drafted, I think. Trevor's saying the Leafs got destroyed last night in their game. Yeah, I didn't pay attention to that last night. You know what? I should go look at both the scores from last night. So the Leafs got destroyed by the Panthers in Toronto on our home ice. Horrible to see at Scotiabank Arena. Leafs forced to look in the mirror after drubbing, is what it says here. It's 3-2 in the series, 6-1 game last night. Wow. And the Oilers won, though, and they won their series against Vegas, which is nice to see. At least that one Canadian team had a good game last night. Where's the Jets at? Did the Jets get eliminated? I hope they didn't. Okay, they're still going, but they're in trouble. They lose another game, they're out. So come on, Winnipeg, win your game. Sad to see about the Leafs, but in some ways, man, what is it about Florida teams against the Maple Leafs in the Stanley Cup playoffs? It's like either Tampa Bay or Florida Panthers messing them up, right? Right? I mean, yeah, it is some ways it is what it is. I mean, hopefully Leafs can win the next game and still try and win the series, because they're going to have to win the next game or they're out. That's right. Trevor's saying there's rumors starting that Atlanta Hawks are pursuing for Masai. Laughing my head off. This is always something like this. You know, these teams want our people They want our coach, Nick Nurse, and they go get him. They want our players, they try and go get him Kawhi Leonard. Well, they said they wanted Masai for a good decade now, and nobody's been successful, and nobody's going to get him. They just don't understand this at this point. Listen, Masai Ujiri is a special individual in the NBA. Masai Ujiri is one of one. And this is the thing, Denver may have had a chance to make him long-term president of their team when he was there still. But once he came up here, once he came to Canada, he found home. And people don't hear that enough. Masai has very, very openly said, when I came to Toronto, I knew I was home. And Canada is home. And he's not kidding when he says this. This is the thing. Bobby and Masai don't lie. They're very, very open, and they will tell you exactly the way it is. And I will say this, Masai Ujiri will never, ever work for another NBA team after the Toronto Raptors. So all these other teams are trying to think, oh, we'd be so good if Masai was running our team. You ain't going to get him. If he wasn't going to go to New York when they wanted him, if he wasn't going to go to Washington when they wanted him, and this was all like 8 years ago, he's not going anywhere. Y'all need to understand this. In fact, I could see Masai working into his older age if Ed Rogers will allow him here in Toronto. But if he is done in Toronto, he will not be doing anything in the NBA in a management position. Watch. Now, there's some rumors that he could become the commissioner of the NBA, and that could happen. He'd be a fantastic commissioner of the NBA after Adam Silver. Charles Barkley wants that to happen. He said it himself. He said, I want Masai Ujiri to be the next commissioner of the NBA because that man's really good. I could see that. He could go to head office and be more powerful there. But I don't think he will. I don't think he will because the NBA probably won't give him that position. It's more likely that Mark Tatum will be the next commissioner, the deputy commissioner, the guy who was at the draft lottery. Now, Masai, when he's done with Toronto, I'll bet you he goes off in the sunset because he actually said this, that he has plans to be back in Nigeria later in his life. So this is the thing. He's not trying to live in the United States. So U.S. teams, if you're trying to get Masai Ujiri to come run your NBA team, it's not going to happen. I'm telling you right now, it's not going to happen. Y'all can bring up your rumors and say all this kind of crap. He's going to either work for Toronto or he's going to go work for the head office or he's going to go into politics or he's going to go and just do Giants of Africa and continue to build infrastructure in Africa and be more on site in Africa doing it there. So, I mean, we know because we pay attention to Masai extremely closely. And I have for years and years and years now. I know exactly where he stands on this. And, you could throw all the money in the world. It won't matter to him because in some ways, that's not why he's doing this. You guys don't get this. In some ways, that's why him and I are birds of a feather in a way, because it's not necessarily about the money. It's about winning championships in Toronto. And he did it once, but in some ways, his moment was robbed from him. So he needs to come back and do it a second time. So, yeah, get over yourself, Atlanta. You wanted Siakam too, but you didn't get him, and you're not going to get Ujiri either. So get over yourself, Atlanta. That's what I say this morning to the Atlanta Hawks with their dumb rumors. Just because y'all are so badly run, you just fired Landry Fields, doesn't mean you're going to get the great Ujiri. No, you ain't. No, you're not. You're not going to get him. That's right. Mo's here. Good to see Superfan Mo, y'all. Good morning, Raptor Free crew. Liban Osman with some great interviews. Queen heard about the Toronto taxes. Yeah, let's talk about that, I guess. It's stupid. Man, what a horrible way to make a first impression. I think that Derik Queen's having a horrible combine week right off the bat. Seriously, you're losing millions of dollars, bro, because your athletic scores are horrible. Seriously, they're saying he has some of the worst historic scores at the combine. This guy Queen we're covering today. And I can tell you right now, we said it yesterday, you can look at his body type, and if he's not taking care of himself properly, if he's not disciplined and taking care of himself, he will balloon up and be fat and out of shape. He could very well be a Zion Williamson, guys. And that's why, you know what, I've had a change of heart and maybe a little bit influenced by his dumbass comment about the taxes. You want to make a first impression on Raptors Nation. That's not the way to do it, Derik. In some ways, you can think that on the download behind the scenes, but don't say it publicly into a microphone. That's stupid, bro. That's so stupid, man. Now, he's got two things on his side. He's from Baltimore, and so is Emmanuel Quickley. So there's something about that kind of synergy of being from the same area. In some ways, quickly could be a good uh, role model to him. Maybe teach him a little bit, take him under his wing, coming from the same city of the United States. Now, the other thing is he's Montverde too, which gives him a nice strong tie to Scotty and RJ. And in some ways, that's kind of a good thing too. I know Scotty is familiar with Derik because of his Montverde, and he knows all these Montverde guys. In some ways, Scotty really does feel a brothership, a brotherhood with people that went to Montverde Academy. So those are two easy connections into the team with Derik Queen if he was drafted by the Raptors to fit in really easy. He's from Baltimore, which is Emmanuel's hometown, and he's from the same high school that RJ and Scotty went to. But I'm going to say this right now, with your bad combine scores and with your knuckleheaded first comment to the press about Toronto, I don't want you now, bro. I'm serious, man. I've changed my mind on Queen because in some ways the guy has no leaping ability. He's tethered to the ground and he's a real risk to be out of shape. In some ways, I'm kind of mad at him already because he doesn't have more muscle on his body. He looks like one of these guys that's just big and he just relies on being big. Then he really should have more strength in his upper arms and his shoulders, but he doesn't. So you know what? It's really crazy. Between his comment and seeing all the press about his bad combine scores, I'm really kind of shying away from Derik Queen at this point. You know, that game winner that he made against Colorado State was kind of a fluke. I'm not going to lie. And, I don't know. I'm just at the point where I'm like, you know what? I don't want there's so many different players and different ideas and things we could do. I don't want to waste my time on a knucklehead or somebody who seems like he might be a knucklehead. And in some ways, Derik Queen's coming off as a knucklehead. Let's just put it that way. I mean, the other two that they did interviews with Liban were way more smart about what they said. Colin Murray Boyles and who was the other interview? It was with Fears. Yeah, they both said good quotes and smart quotes. Meanwhile, Queen's, saying something he probably shouldn't have said. His agent's probably like, why did you say that, bro? Why'd you say that? You're only worried about taxes? Well, this sounds like you don't want to be in Toronto. If you're like, I heard they got the worst taxes. That's not going to help your case to come here. Well, maybe that's by design. Maybe the young man from the ACC does not want to come to Toronto. So he said, yeah, I heard they have the worst taxes. Well, there you go. Messiah and Bobby heard that, man. We heard it too. Everybody heard it. And that's not going to help you with getting consideration with us, man. You kind of shoot yourself in the foot, bro. Kind of shoot yourself in the foot. But if that's by design because you don't want to be a Raptor, well, good. Finally, thank you for not pretending, for not acting like you would. So, hey, all right. That's good with me, man. Seriously, I will take just the littlest thing like this and read right on into it all the way through with it. Javon Freeman Liberty coming in and saying, I'm looking forward to doing what I can here while I'm here. Oh, you just said while you're here. Okay, so you have no long-term goals to stick around in Toronto and try and be here. Just learn what to say, young players, so you don't hurt yourselves because, some of y'all are really hurting yourselves with your mouth and saying dumb shit. And, well, Derik Queen's the guy now. Seriously, man. Yeah, really dumb, man. Really, really dumb. Y'all, we're going to do a birthday party for Monique's birthday at the NBA restaurant on June the 7th. The reservation is 5:30, and she's got a great guest list already. It looks like the Giants of Africa people will be there once again. So, y'all, seriously, come and celebrate at our next Raptor Freak Hangout on June the 7th at the NBA restaurant. It's a Saturday, 5:30 p.m. It's Monique's birthday right around then, and we're going to have a birthday party for her again. We did it last summer and it was a blast. We want to do it again. So hopefully, if you didn't make it last year, come this year. If you made it last year, come back again this year because we're going to be celebrating Superfan Mo once again on June the 7th, 5:30 p.m., NBA restaurant. That's the time, the date, and the place. Right there. Boom goes the dynamite. Yeah. Most saying Derik Queen reminds me of DeMarcus Cousins. He reminds me of AC Earl. I don't know why. Like, he has the same kind of athletic body as AC Earl, original Raptor. In some ways, he reminds me of him. That's not necessarily good. Seriously. That's not necessarily good. Big old butt, big body, but skinny arms in some ways. Yeah, it's interesting, man. I want to like the kid, But man, it's like, why would you come out with that comment this week? Because you really get on the bad side of the RFF right here. So yeah, there's a report out saying that his stock is falling. Derik Queen. This came out 20 hours ago from a Maryland Terrapins fan site, which is his alma mater. You know, they're saying after a terrific freshman season that ended with a Sweet 16 loss to Florida, Maryland center Derik Queen has been projected as a top 10 pick, but the 5-star didn't start out well at draft combine, according to Jamie Shaw. He believes Queen's stock is falling. They confirmed the eye test about Queen's athleticism. While it was already known that Queen was a less than average athlete, his testing numbers finished even worse than expected. Queen finished with a reported 12.45 lane agility drill, giving him the third lowest score in the previous 5 years of the NBA draft combine. That can't be good. Lane agility score, that means probably get up to on the basket. That can be good right there. His 28-inch reported maximum vertical would have finished tied with Peyton Sanford as the second lowest total last year. So this man ain't got no hops. This man ain't got no hops is what they're basically telling us. Is that Derik Queen ain't got no hops. He ain't got no verticality, and he ain't got no lane agility. And he's supposed to be the best offensive big man in this draft. Something's fishy here, man. Something's fishy here. The draft combine also showed that Queen has not been able to clean up the hitch in his jump shot from high school. I did notice that hitch in his shot when I watched the highlights of him. He shot 20% from 3 this season, and he made only 45% of his 111 recorded shots. Wow. Decision making is an interesting stat with Queen as well, as he finished with 67 assists to 85 turnovers this season with high usage. Dating back to high school, has over his last 2 seasons, he has 125 assists to 137 turnovers. So that's a crazy assist to turnover ratio because it's the wrong way. It's in negative inverse. And that's never good. So we're talking about playing this guy at the top of the key like Jakob as a high post hub. That man's going to be throwing more turnovers and assists. I'll pass on that. Yeah. So I'm like not big on this guy. I think that in some ways, Bobby heard this comment yesterday. He's like, yeah, you know what? I was already not real big on you, Derik, because your athletics is kind of questionable. But now with that comment, yeah, your mentality is maybe a little questionable here. So it's like Bobby Webster is going to pass on Derik Queen, I think, man. If this is subterfuge to avoid getting drafted by the Raptors, well, good on you, Queen. We probably are going to avoid you now. But this is an interesting article talking about how bad he did at Combine. I know this was a hot topic yesterday. We were talking about whether the Combine matters or not. But like I said, this is a job interview. This is a physical. This is an FBI profiler test. This is everything. They're trying to find out who you are and what makes you tick. And you got all 30 teams looking at you at the NBA draft combine in Chicago. You better put your best foot forward. This means millions of dollars. And Derik Queen, if you coming in there cavalier, nonchalant, maybe you should go to the Cavaliers because you're being so cavalier. I'm cavalier. Okay, you're on Cleveland now. You're being all cavalier about trying to be at the combine and not put your best foot forward. Well, you're going to not get as much interest and your stock will drop. And I feel like that's what's happening with Derik Queen right now. Seriously, man. Seriously, it's weird, man. Trevor's saying, I can't, hang on. Let's see what Trevor's saying here. Jumped ahead right when I was about to read it. I can tell y'all what I see at the draft combine. I see lots of good, talented shooters. The bigs, what I see from them, not very good on defense. So you're saying you see a lot of good shooters, but the defense is not very good from the bigs from what you've seen at the combine? Interesting. We saw that stats of Malawach with his three-point shooting look pretty good, man. He's shooting pretty good threes in the combine is what I'm seeing. Yeah. Mo's saying, Hawks, stay the hell away from Masai. Yeah, not happening. Yeah, you know why Trevor brought it up, Mo? Because it's a joke. It's absolutely hilarious. Why would he want to do that? Seriously. Now, why would he want to go there? There's no reason for him to want to go and run the Hawks. In some ways, Masai has set up so much here. In some ways, the Raptors culture, he's the most important person for the Raptors culture we built. We, the North, is Masai. They started that when he came here. And everything about the Raptors and us getting the championship, he's the architect. He is the mastermind. And in some ways, he built this culture here, just like Popovich built a culture in San Antonio, just like Spoelstra and Riley built a culture in Miami. And in some ways, it's like, what, you expect him to come down to Atlanta and do that with y'all? Y'all are a mess. In some ways, he may not even want to know where to start. And would he even want to go through the process of trying to get things right with y'all? I'm telling you, in some ways, he's got it all figured out up here. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And if y'all are trying to tell him, oh, you need new challenges, getting a second championship in the Toronto Raptors is a great challenge and the one he wants and the one he is taking right now. So it's like, well, new challenges. Well, you stay in one place too long, you don't have the challenges. You just get too comfortable. Bullshit. Masai Ujiri is not comfortable. In fact, he won a championship with us in 2019, and he never let himself be comfortable after that. He's continued to be like acting like he had never won. He's like, yeah, that don't count. That don't count. They didn't let me get on the court. And in some ways, I don't even believe we won the NBA championship in 2019 because I don't want to believe it because I want to stay hungry. He said this. Masai's like, when I walk through the OVO Center and I see the championship trophy sitting in that glass case, I don't look at it. I act like it doesn't even exist yet. That's how I stay hungry to get the second championship. So Atlanta, man, just because y'all fired Landry Fields lately and y'all are a mess, don't mean you can try and get us. You can't just say, oh, we want Masai here. Masai, come and help us. It ain't happening. Most exactly right. It ain't happening. And I know that because I've heard it straight from the man's mouth. He's Canadian. He loves Toronto. He wants to stay here. And if he's going to work for an NBA team, it's going to be the Raptors. That's it. That's it. That's it. You think that he come to Atlanta when he had much better job offers 7 years ago, 8 years ago, 10 years ago? And you're asking him now? The Lakers have probably asked him to come work for them. He said no. New York Knicks have asked him. He said no. Why the hell would he say yes to y'all? Seriously. Why would he say it yes to y'all? It's crazy. Smooth Brown Man's here. Reggie, good to see you, man. New report yesterday regarding Giannis. He wants to play in the East. Toronto and Brooklyn named as potential destinations. A true front office has to make that call, man. All right, I've thought about this because it's intensifying the whole Giannis stuff. Giannis is definitely disgruntled and does not want to be in Milwaukee. This is true. He has also said that he wants to stay in the Eastern Conference. This is true. Now, Rich Paul has added his little comment saying that the two teams that he thinks have the best chance to get Giannis are Toronto and Brooklyn because of our assets. Now, I had an idea this morning, and this is the only way I would let Giannis get on our team. We are not touching any barbecue. No. Scotty stays here. RJ stays here. Emmanuel stays here. Jakob stays here. Grady stays here. You really, really, really want Giannis Antetokounmpo to come here, Masai, you trade Brandon Ingram and Ochai Agbaji for him, and that's it. That's it. Maybe a draft pick, but hopefully a second-round pick. Ingram hasn't shown up yet. In some ways, that'll get you most of the money for Giannis. If you really, really, really want to try and end Antetokounmpo in Toronto and finally circle around and get that Giannis dream that these Raptors fans have wanted since 2020, you trade Ingram straight up with his new extension and Ochai Agbaji to Milwaukee. Oshai's from Milwaukee. In some ways, he'll be going home. And that's it. You don't trade anybody else. None of the rookies, none of the barbecue, and none of the Jakob Poeltl or the Grady Dick. You put Giannis Antetokounmpo in that lineup, I'll take it. We'll get Emmanuel, Scotty, RJ, Giannis, and Jakob in the starting lineup. It's just you switch out Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram ain't even shown up yet. He's a huge piece. You could trade and flip him and send him to Milwaukee. See if you can get all-star there. The Milwaukee fans may be very happy with the healthy Brandon Ingram. This is the only way I do this. This is the only way, Masai, is you send Ingram, and I say to make the money work, it has to maybe be Ochai to Milwaukee, and you get Giannis that way. That's the only way. I don't want to see any you better not trade RJ Barrett to try and get Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's what I'm going to say right now. Do not even think about doing that shit. Seriously. And if they're demanding Scotty for him, tell him, hell no. We don't need to do this. Giannis is your problem. You cannot get Scotty Barnes from us just because you know that's who you really want. No. If you want our players, you're going to take Brandon Ingram. That's who you're going to take if we're going to do a deal for Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's what I want to say right there. That's all I'm going to say right there. Is that's the deal I would do. If we really, really, really have to get Giannis, that's the deal I would do right there. And in some ways, Milwaukee, you have a lot of choices with different teams coming to you, asking you about Giannis. Well, this is the one we offer. If you don't like it, go ahead and talk to another team. That's what I say to that. That's it right there. That's right. Monique is saying, and Joe Casario, your comments are so off. Yeah, we don't even know this guy's name. This Jabroni, I don't even remember. I mean, I know you posted this in Facebook, and I said, yeah, this is an idiot. And you're like, I know. I just want to show everybody this guy's an idiot. I know that that's what it is, Mo. I know you don't agree with them, but I don't even want to put their name on blast. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Jabroni, your comments are off with your silly ass. You know what it was? There's an article that came out, and it's the guy saying, well, now that the Raptors are relegated to the 9th pick, they have no other option to just blow it up even more. Like, they have to make trades now because they're not good enough. They're not good enough to compete in the way they are right now. And because they didn't get a high enough draft pick to save them, we have to make a trade to either go up in the draft or get a superstar somewhere else. I'm like, you're an idiot. Seriously. Why do we have to do any of that? We don't. We have a young team that's getting better, and that will make us better. And we got a new all-star player that's coming to play for us that will add to the whole thing also. If you don't understand this, you're an idiot, and you're not paying close attention to basketball and what's going on here with the Raptors. We have a very good team that's going to be really good next year. It's just got to be healthy. And these young players, we have so many young players that are going to increase and get better right now. Jamal Shed, Jacoby Walter, Grady Dick. There's so much potential on this team. And Scotty's going to get way better too. People think he's hit a ceiling or he's like stopped developing. He has not. It's just that the casuals cannot see how Scott's developed this year in leadership and defensive leadership, and also just being like all around the glue guy and important player. He's grown so much. And, you know, casual observers, they won't see it, but learned, longtime basketball watchers can see what Scotty's been doing and understand the process that he's doing right now. I don't understand how paid journalists of the Raptors can have the opinion that Scotty Barnes has been spinning his wheels on his development and not doing any better since his rookie year. Y'all are idiots if you can't see what he's done. Seriously, I don't understand this. Like those idiots that were on the hot mic moment. There's like, yeah, Scotty's got to get better in some ways. Has he even got better since his rookie year? Oh, hot mic idiots. You dumbasses. You cannot tell where he's gotten better. Can you not see the dominance in the post and his post moves that he showed last year that he never did really in his entire career up until this year? Could you not see how much more of a leader in charge he was this year as far as yelling and telling everybody what to do and being a catalyst for energy and defense and all kinds of stuff this year? Scotty upped his defensive leadership game to the max, honestly. In some ways, the Raptors becoming a better and better defensive team over the year was Scotty getting more and more used to being the vocal defensive captain on the court. And these guys want to do it for him. That's the great, amazing thing is these guys are playing all out and going after it, and he sets the tones. Jamal Shed said, when Scotty goes out there and he plays his ass off, it makes me want to go out there and play my ass off. So I don't understand casuals that think that Scotty's development or what he's been doing has not gotten to new levels in the last couple of years. You're idiots, and you are not paying close enough attention is what I'm saying to those people right there. That's right. That is right there. Boom goes the dynamite. James saying OKC versus Wolves is a good matchup. Yeah, I mean, there's similar kind of teams. They got similar kind of depth, and there's some interesting height matchups with Holmgren and Gobert. That's kind of fun. SGA against Nickel. That's fun. Cousins versus Cousins. Canadian Cousins playing against each other. Yeah, it's a fun matchup, and I want to see it. So Thunder, put out the Joker tonight. Put out the Joker and the Nuggets tonight, and let's get on to the Western Conference Finals. Oklahoma City versus Minnesota is not two teams from the West that they would want at this point for marketing and other stuff. No, it's not, Adam Silver, your golden boy bullshit. I love it, Timberwolves and Thunder. Not necessarily the hottest ticket, and neither one of those teams have won a championship. So that's good. That's good in some ways. You know, that's what's shaping up right now. If the Knicks beat the Celtics, and it's the Knicks and the Pacers in the Eastern Conference, and those teams in the West, only one of those teams has ever won an NBA championship. So that means 75% chance the three teams are gonna have a new championship team, a new franchise getting a championship for the first time. I don't count Seattle for Oklahoma City. I'm sorry, that's bullshit. The fact that they try and count Seattle Supersonics championship in 1979 as a Thunder championship is bullshit. That is not an Oklahoma City Thunder's championship. Stop putting the damn banner up there, especially when Seattle Sonics come back. You need to take that banner right back to the city of Seattle, because that's where a championship for that franchise belongs, not in Oklahoma City. So don't try and tell me the Thunder are already a one-time NBA champion. That's bullshit. They are not. That is not a championship for your city. That's a championship for the green and yellow of the Seattle Supersonics, of Dennis Johnson, Lenny Wilkins, and Jack Sikma. So don't give me this shit. The Thunder are not an NBA champion already. They have not won it. That's right. That's what I'll say right there. That's right. Most saying not happening in regards to Giannis. The only way is what I just said. I say it that if they could do that, I'm okay with it, Mo. You send Brandon Ingram and Oshai to Milwaukee for Giannis, I could do that trade. I can do that trade right there. Seriously. Because think about it. In some ways, that'd be interesting to see. And in some ways, I think it's a risk. I think we're better off the way we are right now. But if Masai and Bobby, and I trust them, if they think getting Giannis and putting him on this team with Scotty Barnes is going to help us get a championship, I'll believe them. I mean, in some ways, this is kind of like the one thing I don't want them to do is something like what they did with Kawhi and DeMar, where, DeMar was Toronto forever, and he still is. We love you, DeMar. You always be Toronto, bro. You got us. We got you, too. And we know you still got us, even though you're not on our team anymore. Well, we traded a guy who was completely loyal and loved our city for a guy who couldn't give a fuck, came in here for 1 year and won a championship and left. And in some ways, that broke my heart, because you don't do that. You don't cross loyalty for somebody who's not loyal. You know what I'm saying? And in some ways, that's what I would worry about if they start trying to talk about Giannis Antetokounmpo for like RJ Barrett, because we know RJ is absolutely loyal for a team. And Giannis could show up and be a headache. He could be very demanding. He could be talking about this and Masai, why don't we do this and all this stuff? And like, we don't need that energy. And then where is his allegiance lie? In some ways, he's very loyal to Milwaukee. It's the only team he's ever been on. But how much loyalty would he have for our team? And would his loyalty be anything like RJ's loyalty for us? That's what I'm saying. So you don't even think about Barrett being involved in the trade, Masai, because we don't want to trade any more real ones for guys who may not be real ones, just like what happened with DeRozan and Leonard. So I would just caution on that. That's why I would say you don't go near RJ Barrett in a Giannis trade, because in some ways, RJ's playing for all the right reasons here. You know he is. You don't have to doubt that. And some of these big stars like Kevin Durant and Giannis Antetokounmpo, LeBron James, they don't play for the right reasons anymore. They kind of won championships and they've kind of gotten to weird headspaces with their brains since. And in some ways, I don't want that on my team. I'd rather have the loyalty of a hometown hero like RJ Barrett. So if there's a deal, it's got to be Brandon. That's what I'm saying right there. Yeah, that's what I'm saying right there. Let's see. G's letting me know that Emma here was waived from the WNBA. I do have her on my team. So she got waived. Man, that sucks. I was like hoping to have more Canadian content, but she got waived from the team. Oh, that sucks. I hate that, man. I hate to hear that. Yep, she's back on the free agency market. That's too bad for Letitia. Well, I guess I'm going to have to make a move on the waiver wire now and get somebody new in there. Thanks for the heads up, G. Thanks for the heads up. I guess this season's starting in like 2 days. WNBA fantasy teams, be ready to set your lineups because this season's coming quick. That's right. Yeah, Smooth saying, yeah, you're probably right, Mo, that Giannis probably won't happen. Well, we'll have to see. Rich Paul's putting his 2 cents in there. We know how much of a mover and shaker he is. Trevor's saying, Lex, I'm on the phone working today, putting this hair show together, so I can't call in because I'm on the phone right now. Okay, so he's busy doing his job on the phone. All right, if you get a little break, let me know. Most saying that Scotty was spotted with George St. Pierre. All right, yeah, let's go look at the Instagram stories real quick. Yeah, Scotty was at the real estate guy's house, and George was there also. Let's first, Leo Routen's words of wisdom. People who care for your soul, listen to your silence. Good morning. A silent coffee. Have a peaceful day. So the coffee is silent. You're listening to the soul of the coffee. Leo Routen's, that's pretty cool. This big weekend's coming up for Toronto Tempo, man. They got all these things scheduled. They got on the court layup 11 to 3 p.m. This is on at Stacked this weekend. Tempo Live. They got Basketball X Belonging, Basketball X Fashion, Basketball X Art. That's like with art. An open court play 3 to 8 p.m. And you can shop the Tempo collection, a fan camp presented by CIBC, and music curated by Miss Milano. That's all going on with the Toronto Tempo this weekend at Stacked. So yeah, they're having a fun May 2-4 kind of thing going on. Jamal Shedd's still putting on blast Houston Cougars always. Cougars, Cougars, Cougars. Yeah, there's some player number 13 putting on blast here. And also there's an event in Texas. The Jewel Institute of Education is joining us for a Meet the Tutor on May the 15th. That's today at 10:30 a.m. That's in about 20 minutes till 6:30. 1315 Grand Avenue Parkway in Pfluger, Texas. So yeah, I don't know if Jamal's going to be there or if a family member is involved in this, but he's putting it on blast on his Instagram. Emmanuel Quickly is at Nobu restaurant here in Toronto. It's a great restaurant. So Emmanuel's around town right now. Let's see. Andrew Jones, his son, is playing soccer. He's kicking the ball around on the court. Pretty cool there. There's Scotty with George St. Pierre, as Monique was pointing out. I'm not sure this is an old picture. I think this is a new picture because Scott's hair is shorter now, and he's smiling. He's there with George St. Pierre and that guy Sam, who does all the real estate, right? The real estate guy. I forget what his name is. He sits at next to Nav Bhatia over at the end of the court. But Scotty and George. It's interesting because we talked about this with Scotty. Scotty does not want to do MMA because he's a lover, not a fighter. He said that. That's his own words. And in some ways, like he'd be a very dangerous MMA fighter. You know, Scotty with his physical attributes and his size and his agility and his strength. Yeah, he'd be very dangerous. But, you know, even if he doesn't want to fight people or do an MMA career, it'd be good for him to have self-protection skills. And, you know, any kind of training with George St. Pierre in MMA, Scotty, go for it. I know that you and him were going to fight or you were going to fight Jamal Shedd or something when he came and visited the team. But either way, Scotty's MMA stuff, he loves watching it. He doesn't mind training in it, but he doesn't want to hurt anybody with it. That's kind of where he stands on it. That's kind of where he stands on it. Let's see who else we got. Let's see. Norman Powell's Understand the Grind Gear, always on blast by Norman Powell. Y'all check that out. Teresa Resch just got the stacked schedule on her Instagram. It's coming up quick, y'all. Let's see. The Raptors official admin is celebrating the greatest court and the greatest jerseys of the season, the purple front, black back. And they're showing trick shot competition out front with Akil Augustine. And yeah, it was pretty goofy. Actually, I was there when they did this. You might see me in the background watching this trick shot thing on there because I was watching them do this in the back. And I was surprised because Akil was running in and out of the arena to cover the game. This was one of the last games of the season. Slim Duck, San Antonio game actually was when it was. Slim Duck has got a podcast he's putting on blast. I don't know what this is exactly. It seems kind of crazy. He has some funny stuff. Oh, that's Logan Paul's on it. That's weird. Let's see. And he's saying happy birthday to his sister. So Chris Boucher's sister's birthday was yesterday. He's saying happy birthday to her. Man, all right. I got to talk about something real quick. I'm getting emotional about something, and it's bringing tears to my eyes. I'm serious. This is amazing. You know, Siakam, he means a lot to me because, like, he is a Raptors legend. He's a champion. He's one of the greatest success stories in Raptors history. And, you know, he's been putting out these little film vignettes after the rounds when they finish. He put one out after they beat Milwaukee. And it's centered around history, like prior history with him and Giannis and putting him out. And, you know, it's so well shot. Like Siakam PS43 Productions is like open gym people. Like, I don't know what they do. Like maybe Fred and these guys, they're like getting these open gym guys on the side and saying, I want you to do personal stuff for me. because these clips that Siakam is making about his playoff journey right now are so good. The music is so dramatic and emotional, and he's just speaking over it. Like in this one that he made after beating the Cavs, he's talking about competing in the playoffs. He's saying stuff like, this is just such a pure thing, man. You just want to be better than the other team. You want to play better. You want to do things. You don't want to get embarrassed by losing to them. He's like just going over the whole mindset that he's learned from the playoffs in his NBA career, the different levels of failure and success that he's had throughout his career, especially with the Raptors. And the way he ties it all in and talks about coming and beating the Cavs and the dramatic pictures of him making shots and the jubilation of him with his teammates and just the awe-inspiring, like everything about it. Siakam, chef's kiss, man. This stuff you're doing with PS43 Productions is top-notch cinematography, awe-inspiring, emotional stuff. And for an old Raptors fan like me, even though you're on the Pacers and Pacers Nation can really get behind your productions, because, man, they are going to get them hyped up too. And honestly, this is the kind of stuff that makes you a legend, because it really shows that you're the man who's been there and done that on this squad. You know, it's not Tyrese. Tyrese has never won a championship before. It's not Miles Turner, who's been the longest standing Pacer, who's absolutely a great guy and absolutely really nice to see Miles be around on the Pacers at this point with their success coming around like this and building towards this. I really love this for Miles Turner. It's Siakam. Siakam, much like I said, Fred had the treasure map. Siakam has the treasure map for the Pacers to get to that Larry O'Brien, because he's the one who knows what it takes to get there. And in this vignette, if you go and watch Pascal's Instagram stories, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. High quality production value, just like the Open Gym series. And the music, it'll make a tear come to your eye because it'll make you realize exactly what makes Siakam tick. Exactly what makes him tick. And man, I love this for the Pacers fans, because in some ways, the Pacers fans are some of the most pure basketball fans in the whole NBA, because that is the heartland of basketball, Hoosiers country, Indiana. And it really is a big part of their culture in their state. So to have a kid from Cameroon who's a champion already from Toronto come to their city to show this team how to win championships, it's a beautiful thing. It's the land of Larry Bird. I'm getting tearing up just thinking about the inspiringness of Siakam and his journey and his climb to try and get his second championship with the Pacers right now, man. Y'all watch that clip. You'll see what I'm talking about, man. I got so emotional watching it last night, man. I'm telling you, man. It's a beautiful thing. And man, Siakam, you're so awesome. Y'all need to watch these clips. He's got one from Milwaukee series and now a Cleveland one dropped yesterday. It's called No Ego. No Ego. And it's about 5 minutes. It's just really, really worth watching, man. AJ Lawson showing himself in the purple front black back jersey. Nicest jersey in the court in the league. That's right. AJ plays for his team, his hometown. That's right. Jonathan Mobo with him and Oshai in the purple front backpack. And Grady Dick also putting the court on blast on the Instagram stories. There you go. That's the Instagram stories for today. Boom goes the dynamite. Mike's team is mostly very good. Yeah, Mike didn't even select it, but he's got a pretty good team overall. All right, that's good stuff, man. Reggie saying the only deal that the Bucks would go for is Scotty Barnes and one for Grady or Walter. And one of Grady or Walter. Yeah, screw that. Then there's no deal on the table. We don't need to do this. That's the thing. Milwaukee, if you really need to move Giannis and he has a specific place, well, in some ways, that's your own damn thing to deal with. Raptors don't need to do jack shit. We're in a good place no matter what on our own. And that's the great thing. We don't need to be opportunists and do anything unless it's to what we like. And, well, Scotty Barnes is a non-starter as far as I'm concerned. The Milwaukee Bucks want to trade Giannis to Toronto. You're not going to get Scotty Barnes. And I know that that's a non-starter with Masai and Bobby. They put too much invested in him. And Darko and Scotty are too like this. It just doesn't make any sense. It absolutely makes no sense. I would not trade Scotty Barnes for Giannis Antetokounmpo, because honestly, Scotty's younger. And in some ways, Scotty has that hunger to get that championship a little bit more than Giannis does at this point, because Giannis is already 8 and gone to that table and won a championship. So that's what I say right there. Yeah, Seymour saying almost burned my Leafs jersey yesterday. What a failure! You're one of those fans. You're like a dad that's like, you better do good, son. If you don't, you're off the team. Like one of those tough dads. Kind of like, yeah, you're not doing good enough, so I'm burning the jersey. Yikes. No, don't do that, Seymour. Let's root for the Winnipeg Jets. How about that? Let's root for them tonight, right? Fiercey's here. Good morning, fam, and happy Thursday. Good morning to you, MJ. It will never happen. You're not going to burn your jersey? Okay, don't. Don't do it. Most saying Masai recently was on breakfast television in reference to Giants of Africa and the Raptors. Cool, man. Yeah, I know that they've announced that they're going to be doing a big, huge Giants of Africa event this summer, longer than the usual days. They're going to be a few extra days, and they're going to be expanding it even bigger. And they are doing a big, huge thing in Rwanda. And, that's probably part of what Masai is talking about on breakfast television is the expanded Giants of Africa event that's going to be going down in Rwanda this summer. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see. Yeah. Let's see. Fiercely saying, Masai said it. His focus is on Toronto, and you're right, Lex. If he's done, he won't go with another team. I mean, I just don't see it. I feel like, it's the kind of thing like where it's weird because he was assistant GM kind of in Denver. He wasn't really totally in charge there completely. And then he came here and he became very much in charge. And in some ways, it's just like a player. You get drafted to your first team. It's always this. It feels so like important and special. That first team. It's like your virginity, I guess. And in some ways, Masai's first team that he built and did this kind of stuff with is special. It's the Raptors. And to go into a new situation, especially with people that are probably not as good quality in personnel, the organization's not got as much resources or certain things. It's probably not as fun. The challenge may be greater, but it's probably not like that enticing or interesting. It takes a lot to build what Masai's built here. And in some ways, the way that he establishes the legacy of what he built here past him is he continues to keep that culture and that feeling around our team as long as he can. Greg Popovich, he's just stepped down as the head coach of the Spurs after almost 30 years, but he's not going anywhere. He's going to be in the front office as the head of operations. And that means he will keep his Spurs culture intact, even if he's not on the coaching sideline more and more, just like Riley in Miami. Spoelstra became the coach, but Riley was still there being a part of it. It's just, I'm saying you need time to really let it take and keep there and be there and oversee it for as long as you can. And then past you, it'll stick a little bit better. That's what I'm saying. Red Auerbach, his years and years and years with the Celtics. In some ways, when he's gone, you lose something. And, but his shadow and what he meant to the team is still there for the Celtics. And a lot of stuff from the culture of the Celtics is from Red Auerbach. So these are these kind of names for franchises. If you said Boston Celtics, who's the most important person that ran the Celtics? It's Red Auerbach. You say Miami, it's Pat Riley. Do you say San Antonio, it's Greg Popovich. If you say Toronto, it's Masai Ujiri. And that's just something right there. You're never going to get that association in Atlanta. I'm sorry. You just ain't, man. You just ain't. You just are not, man. Seymour saying all sports commissioners are Jewish. NBA, NHL, MLB, NFL. Good luck with that. No knock on that community. I don't even know what you're talking about. What do you mean? What does that have to do with things? Jewish? I don't know. What did I bring up that has to do with that? I don't know. Either way. I mean, let's keep going. Kaz is saying Queen is so immature. Yeah, I get that vibe from him too. Like even in this picture for this stream, he's making a weird face like, wow. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on with him. I'm getting a couple red flags. In some ways, it's like when you're vetting and sussing out these draft prospects, well, you discover things about them. And well, in some ways, this guy ain't covering his ass very well with how he comes off right now. Yeah. Smooth saying the Leafs looked like they were drunk on skates last night. So pissed. Well, in some ways, I'm so glad I'm not emotionally tied into the Leafs. I really am. Let's see. Smooth saying at least Edmonton won, though. There you go. There you go. That's right. What did Queen say? Queen said, oh, I heard that Toronto has the highest taxes out of all the teams. Yeah, that's what he said. They have the most taxes. That's the exact words. Let's see. Stargate saying, yeah, I'm disappointed in Queen. He was my overwhelming favorite coming into the draft because of his complementary skills for our team. But after that immature comment, I'm changing my mind quickly. Yeah, you didn't really realize this, man. Everything you're doing right now is scrutinized, Derik. And you can be jokey and laughy about it, but man, in some ways, it shows not a smart foot forward. And the thing that's more appalling to me, in some ways, is not necessarily that comment. It's the fact that his combine stats, like the one that surprises me, is the passing one. Like you were just saying, part of the reason why we wanted him was because of that passing plug-in, like Kelly Olynyk. Kelly Olynyk's gone. In some ways, we had that backup after Jakob that could replace him at the top of the key, very prolific passer. You see highlights of him doing that, but they're not showing you the highlights of all the turnovers he's doing while he's also at the high post. And the stats showing that he has more turnovers than assists is alarming. That's absolutely alarming right there. And to me, that defeats the whole purpose of trying to get him for that kind of offensive cog, like hub kind of role. If he makes more turnovers than assists, this is not a good thing. I mean, they could fix it and try and get him better in it. It may show some proclivity to get better. But in some ways, if you're coming from a negative point, a starting point, as far as his assist to turnover ratio, that's not good. Seriously, because in some ways, he's already playing high level college basketball. He should be at the point where he's making more converted assists than turnovers. Does that make sense? I mean, that's the weird thing. Other than the unathletic stats that he's getting, like the lack of a vertical leap, and the fact that he's gotten really bad scores on lane agility. That's stuff that really matters if he's going to be a big man, right? That's stuff that really matters. Reggie's saying, I have to comment on the Leafs again, Lex. I have never seen such bad hockey in my life. It was terrible. You just like, it was so bad. He had to comment and really reiterate it. You know what? Just for that, Smooth, I'm going to give you a dunk. And I know that doesn't make any sense. Why are you giving him a dunk for that? Because I think it's funny. Because in some ways he's saying they were so bad. I have to really reiterate this here. So 10 dunks for Reggie so far this year. That's right. 24 hours later. Yeah. Yeah. He said something like yesterday after our stream. Yeah, we have the most taxes. Don't say that. That's your first comment. And that you're actually talking to the Toronto reporter when you said that. It'd be one thing if you were just talking to a general reporter and you said that just in general out loud, like, oh, well, I heard Toronto has the most taxes. But you said it to a Toronto reporter. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to bring it up here, and you're going to get an Antonio Davis comment. You're going to get an Antonio Davis comment. You don't want that, man. Trust me. Antonio Davis is going to have kids playing in the CBL soon. And he never wanted them to be schooled up here. They're going to be playing here soon. Wayne saying, morning, Raptor Freaks. Boston is a different team when Jaylen Brown is leading. I'm not a hardcore Boston hater, so the potential referee hit job last night for the Knicks was pathetic. Pacers to win. All right, this is so funny. Once again, Lex was right. And I know some of y'all were with me on this, Stargate in particular, that the Celtics are better without Jason Tatum. The proof is in the pudding. It happened last night. I said it yesterday. Don't be surprised. The Celtics going to win. They're at home. They have a favorable ref crew. We knew the refs were totally going to manipulate to help them. We knew this, guys. And also, Jason not being there makes them a better team because they're better efficiency. You know, you'd rather have Derek White take the shots that Tatum shoots because he shoots a higher percentage and he's more careful with the ball. So, you know, Derek White in some ways is on the down low. You know, Brown and White is better stay to colors than Tatum. And I'm going to keep saying this. I feel bad for Jason. And like y'all said, he's not going to be back probably till 2026. But proof is in the pudding. I say it right there. They're a better team without him. Jaylen Brown being the for sure top player on their team, leading it in a very clear way instead of the ambiguous way that both of them are out there, makes them a lot better organized right from the start. And there's no like this. The analogy I always made was there's a baby falling out of the building. It's burning. And somebody's got to catch the baby. If there's Jason and Jaylen both standing there, seeing the baby come in the ground, well, somebody got to step over and catch it. Sometimes the other guy will say, well, I thought you were going to catch it. Now the baby's on the ground and it's dead. That's grim. I shouldn't have said that. But it's like either one of them could have caught it. If it's not clear who's going to catch it, well, the baby will fall and hit the ground. So one of them's got to catch it. So Jason's not available to be there to catch the baby. Jaylen better catch it. That's what I'm saying right there. So I knew this was going to happen, but let's not get it twisted. They're going to go back to New York, and the Knicks will close this out in the next game. If they're going to try and do some crazy, miraculous run for the Celtics to get past the Knicks, that actually might be good too, guys. Seriously. What if the Celtics don't lose and they eliminate the Knicks after all still. They get to the next round and they play the Pacers without Jason Tatum. They're going to get their ass beat either way. So in some ways, we could get both these Atlantic Division teams out of here. I have no problem with the Celtics coming back and beating the Knicks somehow, some way in the series, because I know they won't win a championship still getting any further. They're not going to have it. They're not going to have the juice. So we'll just have to see what happens here. It's very interesting. And I love it. Once again, exactly right. We called it. I've seen this many times. Boston Celtics are better when Tatum's out, and Jaylen Brown is just the for sure figurehead number one. Proof in the pudding. Then you get Frank Cornette out there being Frankenstein, blocking a whole bunch of shots too. Yeah. Yeah, man. That's what's up right there. That's right. It's too bad. It's too bad. Love the hype around CMB. Colin Murray Boyles. Man, I'm not with him. I'm not with him either. I'm in a weird place right now. I'm kind of like starting to think that best available to draft is starting to be more important than position, because I don't know if we're going to get the big man that we absolutely need or want at this position. I don't think it's Murray Boyles. I don't think it's him. I'd almost rather them go on a limb and pick Joan Behringer, since they're close to being a 7-footer and they're not that further down in the draft. If they're a certain kind of player that seems like they can be worked into, if Common's not going to be available, go to the next legitimate 7-footer and get them. And I think it's that Joan Behringer guy is the next 7-footer. And he's a foreign player, of course. And I don't know. I mean, I really just want a true center. I mean, Asa Newell is great. Colin Murray Boyles is probably really great too, but they're both power forwards. They're not true centers. And in some ways, they'll make us small if we invest in them. And that's why I'm not big on Colin. I'm really not. I know that he's where we're getting mock draft right now, but I don't know. I'm almost getting to the point where I'm like, all right, let's start talking about fears. Let's start talking about some of these other guys that are more talented, because Queen has disappointed me so much in the last 24 hours. And if Common's not going to be there at 9, well, then we might need to just draft best available. Seriously. I mean, I know this is probably what they're thinking anyway. They're probably thinking this already. I mean, we don't know better than Bobby and Masai. And they probably figured out every single thing already. And whatever happens, and they have totally got a badass draft list already. Watch. They'll do the workouts, and they'll adjust them to that too. Of course, yeah. Smooth saying Leafs were shook badly. Moment was too big for them. I don't understand why they keep losing to Florida, man. This is like messed up, man. Seymour saying the rift between both countries is not good look for acquiring the young gems coming into the league. The rift between both countries. What are you talking about? U.S. and America or something like that? I don't know. Let's not make things bigger than they are. In some ways, we've got things in a pretty good place right now. Carney went and saw Trump. Trump showed respect to Canada again. And it sounds like he's going to let go of the stupid, like we're trying to take Canada to become a part of the United States. Because in some ways, he admitted that it takes two to tango, and Canada want to tango with him and become part of the U.S. So, and he also said something about he's not interested in doing any kind of military advancement on Canada, which is smart, which is very, very smart. Yeah. Let's keep going. Stargate saying, I'm leaning towards Fears, even though he's a point guard. If the Raps weren't focused on a big, I would go with Fears. See, that's what I'm saying. I'm starting to move this way too, Stargate. This is interesting because I didn't read your comment already. And it seems like you and I are kind of thinking the same way. If these big men are going to be flaky or weird or not available, well, I might get more towards get the most talented person. And you know what? Getting a point guard isn't a big deal either. It may give us some real competition with Jamal and IQ, and that would be good depth. So, I know you said that you think that Fears is too good to be the third string point guard, but everything in the NBA, you got to come up the ranks. You know what I'm saying? And who knows? It may be a good thing to have too many good point guards, because then we got some trade pieces. You know what I'm saying? Now, if I'm picking somebody, even if we get Fears and he's super talented and very, very athletic and all this stuff, if Shed's more steady, as steady, I'm going to want Jamal Shed to stay. And, maybe we develop Fears for a couple of years and we trade him down the road. Because in some ways, I know the intangibles of the things that we value in a point guard are in Jamal Shed already. So in some ways, I might actually say I'd rather keep Shed over IQ in the long run in certain ways. Does that make sense? I think y'all might agree with me. Seymour saying I think BI3 is in Canada because he don't like Trump. Yeah, yeah. I'm sure that's part of it. I mean, I'm sure it's part of it. It's for real. Because Brandon's an enlightened young man who's very sensitive and he cares about people. He has a heart. Yeah, yeah. Seymour saying politics divides. That's what it does. Divide and conquer. Well, don't fall for it, man. Don't fall for it. There's one side that's very hateful, and some people say, "Oh, it's your side, Lex, the woke side." No, no, we're standing up and defending for everybody. And the hateful side is the one that's coming at people that are trans, immigrant, and woke and liberal and all that's bullshit. That's the hateful side. That's the separatist side. That's the Trump side. So yeah, yeah. Seymour, I don't want to talk politics, so stop bringing in comments like this, please. Seymour's, let's see. Smooth saying, I guess he doesn't want to be drafted by the Raptors. If he doesn't want to be here, don't do it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, there you go. I think that's real easy right there. You want to shoot yourself in the foot with the best development team in the league? Go ahead, Derik Queen, you idiot. Wayne saying, Lex, are you really shocked by knuckleheads from down south? Hang on. It jumped ahead right in the middle of me reading it. Wow, you guys have been filling it up good the last couple of days. We got a lot to talk about. I bet he doesn't even have a passport. Let's be quiet and celebrate our picks when it happens. In Messiah and Bobby, we trust. I just all right, listen, I've set up the stream to talk about him before I saw that comment. I was going to come in here with glowing remarks about Derik Queen, but now that I found out a little bit more, I'm not endorsing drafting him. Partly because of that comment and partly because of his performance at the combine. And also now, if with the stats from the combine in my eye test, I see more of the deficiencies and the problems with him. You can make a game winner at the tournament and all of a sudden it inflates your value all of a sudden because people think this and that. But that's the first game winner he's ever made at any level, anywhere in his career, in any place. So it's not like that. That's an aberration. That's not necessarily a clutch trait that he just has all the time. So I think that's part of it right there. I think that's part of it right there. Let's see, 100% waste share. Next subject, please. Yeah. I mean, we are talking about Derik, though. That is the comment today. Y'all call me. Seriously, the phone number is up. You can call me and tell me in your own words exactly any of the subjects we're talking about today. Most saying, I'm not even a Leafs fan, and I knew they'd give up. I told Lex this week, Raptors will win more championships. Leafs will win when y'all die. Yikes. Yikes. That's grim, man. That's grim. Yikes. Yikes. Yeah, I mean, I think that there's problems with the Leafs organization in certain ways. I don't know if all right, this is what I would say. The Leafs, are you building a team to beat these Florida teams? Because you need to. Because it's obvious that the biggest thing has been your way, whether it's LeBronto for the Raptors in the 2010s, is the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Florida Panthers. Now, I know for a fact that Bobby and Masai have made teams for the Raptors in the last 10 years catered to beating LeBron's Cleveland, catered to beating Boston's Tatum and Brown, catered to beating some of the top teams in their conference. Are the Leafs management not getting the memo? We need to build a team that can beat the Lightning and the Panthers? Because this seems to be the same wall they run into every year. Seriously, are y'all building a team to try and beat that specific team? Because that may be what you need to do. Honestly, you're wasting your time every time running the same damn wall. We'll figure out a way to get through that wall by trading people and trading people and getting the right personnel to beat that wall. Because it seems like y'all have the same stumbling block every year. And this ain't no LeBronto, right? There's no one single player on there is doing this, right? It's just a franchise. The Panthers? What's going on here? You got to do something about this. Declaw the Panthers. Go get the pieces that will beat that specific team. Because if you're going to keep running into them, because the funnel of the NHL playoffs is the same every year, which is ridiculous. Y'all have a horrible system for how you seed the playoffs in the NHL, by the way. In some ways, it's boring because you give us the same matchups every single year. It's either the Leafs are playing Boston, Florida, or Tampa Bay. That's always the case almost every single year. It was just a little bit of a difference with Ottawa this year. Something's wrong there, Leafs. So maybe you should start building your team to beat specific teams that beat you in the playoffs every year. Hello? It's not like this hasn't happened like 4 or 5 years in a row, losing to a Florida NHL team. So specifically figure out how to beat Tampa Bay and Florida, and maybe you can get somewhere else. Seriously, it's crazy, man. I don't get this, man. Smooth saying for some of these guys, the world ends when they reach their state line. They watch ESPN and Fox, and it's all they know. Yeah, there's small town people, small minded people, people that don't have passports, people that don't broaden their horizons, people that only think a certain way, people that have been overly programmed by the bullshit propaganda of American public schools to think and believe the lie that America is the most exceptional country in the world. Yeah, that's all of it right there. That's it right there. That's right. Seymour saying, I don't want to talk about a drag queen dragged in the mud. F queen. There you go. Raptors Nation turning on the man who brought up taxes. You brought up taxes. Well, if you don't like taxes, go to Texas. That's what I say. Go to Texas then, young man, and go play for I don't know. All three of those teams have too much going on. You need to go to a shitty team. Maybe you need to go to the Washington Wizards, Derik Queen. Maybe that's where you'll go. Who knows? Maybe you'll be a New Orleans Pelican. That might be nice for you, man. Yeah, you can learn how to eat, good eating habits from Zion, and we'll see how you balloon up yourself. There you go. Boom. Stargate saying, Mo, you are a woman after my own heart. There you go. There you go. He likes to hate. The hating on the Leafs Nation and saying stuff like this. Come on, man. Let's not hate that much. I used to be that haterific towards the Leafs. I try to be nicer in some ways. I try to be nicer in some ways, not always. Yeah, so we're saying it was like when I was in Houston, and it's like that now. What are you saying? It was like that when I was in Houston. Oh, you're writing from your other comment. Yeah, well, Americans are very. It's not even xenophobic. They're closed-minded. I mean, listen to this story. All right, when I was married, my father-in-law was a very important person in the state of Florida. In fact, I married into a wealthy family that they had politicians in their family. I married in the 1%, and I married into a conservative family too. My ex-wife was very left-leaning, and we were the black sheep in the family. And in some ways, her family never approved of me because of who I am and what I'm like. But her father and I bonded over basketball, and he is very much a Boston Celtics fan, huge Celtics fan. And we talked a lot of trash. And when I was married to her, this was 2005 to 2010, I was around him. And of course, the Celtics got their championship with Garnett and Pierce right around then. But the Raptors were also on the rise and starting to do a lot of better things around that time too. But he was the head of the highway safety for Florida. He was in charge of all the highway patrolmen for the whole entire state of Florida when he was there. And when he was in that job, and his signature was on everybody's Florida driver's license. My former father-in-law, he did not own a passport. His name was literally on everybody's Florida driver's license, but he did not own a passport because he didn't feel like he needed to leave the United States. And this is a very well-educated, well-to-do, 1%er, conservative person in Florida who's so closed-minded. He said, if I leave the United States, I'm going to Bahamas, and I don't need a passport to go there. When we moved to Canada as a married couple, he said, bye, you'll never see me up there because I'm not coming to Canada because I need a passport to go there. This is somebody, like I'm saying, this is somebody who's educated and all this kind of stuff, and he's acting like this. So you can get the whole idea, even if you're like somebody who's not that educated, ignorant, stuff like you can see where this mentality comes from. It's so stupid, man. It's crazy. Anyway, I'm going to keep going. Let's see. Seymour saying, I'm not going back and forth with nobody like a ping pong ball. I'm just happy I'm born true Canadian. There you go. I like that. I like that. Giannis sweepstake is a hot topic, Lex. It is. It is. And I told you the only way I do it today. That's the only way I do it. It's got to be Brandon. Brandon hasn't showed up yet. It's not that hard to say, okay, we'll just flip him right now. And we'll send him over to you guys. He's got a new extension too, guys. So you got him locked down for a while, Milwaukee. So there you go. That's the only way I do it. It's got to be Brandon. And I feel like if you send Oshai back home and he fits that money on the other end and maybe a draft pick or two, that's the only way I do it. Because I don't want to rock the boat with barbecue. And we are not trading any of these young prospects. If Milwaukee really wants them and they are going to try and make this deal, well, no deal. Walk away from the table. Just walk away from the table. Reggie's saying Masai wants another ring with the Raptors. He doesn't like talking about 2009. No, he doesn't. He doesn't act like it even happened. And when he walks through that hallway, he literally is not looking at that statue. He doesn't act like it even happened, man. James is saying quickly, Jacoby, Ingram, Giannis, Pirtle, it looks pretty good. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that. I see who you have missing, and that's not the one I want to do. No. We don't lose Scotty. We don't lose RJ. I'm sorry. It's a non-starter to me. We are not in a bad place. We don't need to do any trade. That's the thing. We only do this if it's on our terms. That's what I say to Bobby right now. Bobby Webster, you do not do any trades for Giannis and Antetokounmpo or any other big, huge players in this league unless it's on our terms and what we want. And none of this other crap. That's what I'm saying right there. That's right. We don't want to lose Scotty. Plus, they'd want the pick, too. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. All right. We could do Brandon, the 9th pick, and Oshai for Giannis. That's it. That's the best I can do for you, Milwaukee's front office. That's the best I can do. Brandon Ingram, Oshai Baji, going home to Milwaukee. He's from Milwaukee with the 9th pick. That's what we'll do for you guys. For Giannis, straight up. That's it. That's the best I can do for you guys. That's it. Stargate saying Rich Paul made that comment from an agent mindset, not from a player's skills perspective. He's just stirring the pot. In some ways, he likes to bring up Masai in Toronto all the time. I don't know why. I don't know why Rich Paul is always bringing us up. We don't need our name in your mouth. I'll come up on stage and smack you, Chris Rock. Yeah, take our name out of your mouth, Rich Paul. Yeah, I'll come up there and smack you. It's like that. Why are you talking about us, Rich Paul? That's what I say. Why are you talking about Toronto and Giannis? Come on, man. What are you trying to do? What's your agenda here? That's right. Seymour saying Giannis and Pirtle is like Ibaka and Gasol type combo, in my opinion. I could be wrong. That's not a bad. See, I like the fit then. Because in some ways, Giannis and Brandon are kind of interchangeable. In some ways, we could do that with that switch. And I know that Giannis is worth more than Brandon. So that's what I'm saying. The 9th pick, Oshai and Brandon. That's the best I can do, Bucks Nation. That's the best I can do right there. You get Brandon Ingram. You get a great two-way player that's coming up in Oshai Abaji. And you get the 9th pick. And we can see who that is. And we'll take Giannis. That's the only way I do this. That's the only way I do this. Yeah. Smooth saying Masai is a hunger for another ring for the Raptors. He will do whatever it takes to put them in position. Yep, he's doing it. He's doing it right now. Personally, I would like to keep this team together. They really have a chance to have sustained success. It's because they're so young. And if everybody's so hung up on timelines, what's Giannis's timeline with these guys? Seriously. I mean, it's the same kind of as Jakob's. But still, Giannis, in some ways, it's about being around the team and getting used to them and being around them for years and years. You know, that kind of stuff. Let's see. Wayne's saying, Lex, I am not for trade talks, but as we suggested weeks ago, any realistic trade as to be Brandon Ingram, it takes time, but you eventually come around. I'm against getting Giannis, however, nonsense. I'm just like, that's the only thing. I woke up this morning and was like, okay, the only way, because I know this Giannis stuff is going on. And I woke up this morning and said, well, what if we traded Brandon to get him? I would be okay with that because we haven't had Brandon ensconced and come in and established yet with our team. So in some ways, it wouldn't be like ripping out too much already because the man hasn't even shown up and done anything for us yet. So that's the only reason why I say that. I'm with you too. I'm not for a trade, but to appease the trade heads and Raptors Nation, if I was going to make a trade, that's the one I would do. That's the one I would do right there, the one I just described. Smith saying an engaged Brandon Ingram is top 15 player. His offensive package is the best since Vince, man. What do you mean? Why, bro? Come on now. I mean, I like that. And in some ways, if they would make that trade, they'd make it. I'd much rather keep Brandon. I'm not trying to mess Brandon up. I'm just saying that he's the only one I would trade. I wouldn't trade RJ or Scotty. I wouldn't trade either one of them for Giannis. If you really want him, you're going to have to take Ingram, is what I'm saying. If they really, really want him. Stargate saying, I detest these hypothetical casual trade proposals. However, this one by Lex is intriguing. Brandon and Oshai and maybe even a second rounder for Giannis, that's a steal. Yes, that's the only way, nothing else. Yeah, because Scotty ain't going nowhere. He's the heart of this team. We ain't ripping our heart out, Kali Ma. No Temple of Doom here, man. We ain't ripping our heart out of our team. The Dallas Mavericks just did that shit, and they're doing a heart transplant, like a 6-month later heart transplant, putting a flag heart in there after a Luka heart. And in some ways, it's like, yeah, we ain't doing this. There's too much built. We don't want to burn Scott. because we love Scott. We need Scott to trust us because we trust Scott, and we need to have that trust between. And the trust is there with Masai and Scott. And you don't want to mess with that. Seriously, what kind of message would we send to the whole rest of the team that we just said, hey, this is our franchise player. He's in charge. Y'all follow him. Well, wait, we just traded him. And now Giannis is here and he's going to be in charge. That's not the right message to our team. And Scotty's the right leader. And the way he's leading the team right now is very healthy and very productive. That's the thing right there. Cream saying Ingram, Grady Dick, and a draft pick for Giannis and Kuzma. No Kuzma, man. Why are you bringing Kuzma into this? No Kuzma, man. Other than that, Milwaukee can F off. I'm assuming if these rumors are true, Masai will do a deal similar to Kawhi. Yeah, that's crazy. Nah, we ain't doing this. We ain't doing this, Cream. You don't need to add Kuzma in here. His money is too high. Why would we do this? Man, you're trolling. I know you're trolling when you brought up Kyle Kuzma. Stargate saying, hey, was Asa in the combine? How did he do? I don't know. Like I said, I've been so busy, guys. I've been so busy the last few days. And I just have not been doing the regular stuff that I do to like check everything. I appreciate Mo and Trevor posting stuff like crazy while I'm not paying attention, because then I can come in and kind of look at everything that's going on. I really do appreciate you, Monique and Trevor J. I really do. Y'all posting so much. And the people in Discord too, like Kaloy, posting so much stuff to help me out. Those combine stats are the same ones. They're not put in. They're just like, it's annoying. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know what Asa did at the combine. I'll look into him a little bit more, and we'll have to talk about him. We'll still do a Thursday think tank on him, because I think he may still be worth looking at as far as possible for the Raptors draft pick. Smooth saying, I think the only positive for the Raptors getting Giannis is his relationship with Sai. That's a huge plus, in my opinion. Yeah, but is it worth it? Is it a good fit? Is he right for Darko? Is he right for Darko's system? Is he right for our other players on our team? That's the stuff I'm wondering about. I don't care if it's good for him and Masai. That's not even that important. It's about how does he fit with the coach and the existing players. Stargate saying, yes, Move. If there is one man on the planet who can rein in Giannis and keep him in check, it's Masai. He can't dictate things like he did in Milwaukee when Masai running things. Yeah, I would want to think that, but you don't never know. Giannis is a good guy. I really do appreciate how he handled the Halliburton situation with John Halliburton. I really do appreciate that he is a genuinely good person. In some ways, like his personality and the way he is, I've called it childlike, but also at the same time, he's just a good-hearted person. I think that he would really respect Masai Ujiri, but to limits. In some ways, how much does he actually kind of push and pull and get in his ear and kind of like try and drive things still, even if Masai is respected by him and he listens to him? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I don't know. Asa Newell has been at the combine, but I haven't really heard a whole lot about him. I haven't paid attention. Like I said, I have not been paying attention. So I'm hearing what you guys are saying. Let's see. James is saying, Cedric Coward is going up in the drafts. Can we do a scout today? They're comparing him to baby Kawhi. Cedric Coward? That's a weird name. Hang on. Why is my thing not... Okay. Yeah, I guess I'll do one. Real quick. Let me see. Cedric Coward. Coward. It's an interesting last name. All right. This kid is he's American. He plays for Duke. He's another Duke guy. What's weird? He's shooting guard. He's 6'6", 206 pounds. He's from California. Huh. Okay. He doesn't really have any stats on whether he's a 5-star recruit or anything. All right, let me just look at him on YouTube for a second. Come on, YouTube, you better work. Cedric Coward. It's an unfortunate name. I thought you were joking around with me. You were like, put in a name, Cedric Coward. All right, let me watch this highlights here. Hang on, let me down. Okay, where is he? He's on the outside. He did a little jump fake. He's not going to be able to shoot that in the league. That fake, they'll get right back to him. He's got a pretty good release. I wish he'd use his legs more to bend when he shoots. Okay, that one was better. Pretty good follow through. The three's pretty standard each time he shoots it. All I'm seeing is 3-point highlights so far with him. Why is he on Washington State on this? So he's on the transfer portal, but he's going to Duke? I don't understand. Is he going to be in this draft or is he going to be in the draft next year? No, I haven't heard this guy's name at all. And it's weird because they're showing highlights from him playing for Washington State, not Duke. There's a nice little play down the lane. Yeah, I don't know. Once again, we're not really looking at wings. I mean, this is the thing. This guy's coming up as a rising draft stock, but he's not in the right position. I'm talking about if we're not going to take a big man at 9, we need to get the best player available if it's a point guard or a wing, but they have to be like touted and around that area like Jacoby was. And if Coward's coming up from the bottom to come up, I don't want to reach on a position that we don't really need like that. They have to be absolutely top tier, like Fears or Trey Johnson or Kasparis, stuff like that. If we're going to draft other than 4 or 5, I would like to draft 5. If we're not going to draft a 5 or a 4, and it's going to be a 3 or a 2 or a 1, I prefer a 1 first. 2 or 3, I'm not interested in. And as much, unless they are the best, absolute best player available talent wise. That's the only way. That's the only way. So, yeah, I don't know. Even if he's coming up the draft, that position's not one that I value. In fact, the 2 is the least valued position that I want in the league right now. Like 2 and 3 are even. I really don't think we need any 2 or 3s. We have so many good 2 or 3s right now that it's just like it's just gonna make things more confusing, honestly. Let's see. Monique is saying, can I just rave about IQ still in Toronto? Wow, I can't love you anymore, can I? Well, I'm glad he is still in Toronto. I mean, he's a busy guy. He's got a lot of family, and it's showing a real commitment. I like that. I like, hopefully he's going to OVO Center a lot and putting in a lot of work. Maybe they're playing a lot of games and scrimmages and playing around with each other they're here, like Scotty and Grady. And yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, him in particular, you go ahead and love him specifically, but I just love that in general, the Raptors are here in town still, most of them. Not any specific one. Yeah, going to the Blue Jays. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the perks. He's a big sports fan. Of course, he's going to go down there. He doesn't listen to music, so you better go watch sports. Doesn't listen to music. Stargate saying Masai is obsessed with getting another championship here to solidify his legacy before he rides off in the sunset. I think he's done with the NBA after Toronto, unless it's a top league office. Yeah, that's the way I kind of read it too. And he's on par for that. Like he could be NBA head office. He could totally be it. And there's people obviously in the NBA machine that would like that. Charles saying that is a big deal. Charles Barkley saying that is a big deal. That means there probably are other people around the NBA that have the same sentiment. Seriously. I mean, he's been successful with this franchise. If he's running the whole entire NBA, he'd probably be very successful. Probably be very, very successful. The only problem is he's not a lawyer coming from that aspect of things. He's coming from a scout and basketball operations kind of thing. So maybe he wouldn't be a good. That may be good because we don't want lawyers to run the league. Maybe. I don't know. The thing is about this is the funny thing. Adam Silver, he's been a horrible commissioner in some ways because, part of the problem with ESPN that we talked about in the last couple of days and ABC and Disney running the media for us and making the NBA look so bad and talking it down has hurt the product. Part of the reason why it's been Disney is because people don't realize this, but Adam Silver was the CEO of Disney before the NBA. Did y'all know that he actually ran Disney for a little while before he ran the NBA? It's kind of yeah, just so y'all know. Let's see. Stargate saying other than that, he's going to focus on philanthropic endeavors. Being in Atlanta doesn't help him in any of that. In fact, it hinders him. Yeah, you're exactly right. I see all that. Chris comes saying, I'm like you, no ties to the Leafs. Just glad the Raps won in the last decade. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to hate on the Leafs, and I don't want to turn people off that are Raptors fans and Leafs that like to watch. It's just that in some ways, you know what it is? It's really that I'm not a huge hockey fan. It's not that I really care too much either way. It's just that I'm not a huge hockey fan. And I root for all the Canadian teams. In some ways, I root for them equally other than the Montreal. Montreal is a team that I don't root for as much as the rest of the league, Canadians. But I'll root for the Canucks, the Flames, the Oilers, the Jets, The Senators, the Leafs, not so much Montreal though. Kareem saying, I don't trust Queen or Harper. Having possibly 2 players in the top 10 lottery and not even make March Madness is baffling. Something isn't adding up. Yeah, you mean you don't trust Bailey and Harper? Yeah, the 2 Rutgers guys. I don't trust them either. James is saying Queen doesn't fit this team. He needs the ball in his hands to be effective. We need off-ball defensive players in forward or center position. This is a great point by James. I'm going to give him a dunk for this one because I think that's right. And in some ways, if the man's making so many turnovers, why do we want to put the ball through his hands? Nah, we've got Scotty, we've got Yak, we've got RJ, we've got Emmanuel. So James is going to get another dunk. James, you got your 4th dunk of the year. You're at 12. Yeah, I like that. I think he's right. In some ways, I don't think Queen fits at this point. Neil's saying, keep in mind that yes, you look at players, like look to players to fit. However, you also have to look at your development system. I would bet on how our development is going versus many other teams. Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, the thing is, we have a real group, a big group of young players, especially with these rookies last year, 5 rookies, and Grady and Oshai, and Scotty and RJ and Emmanuel. These guys are all young that are all going to grow and get better. And as a collective, they'll add up to an even bigger, better all together. Like you have 7 or 8 of your rotation and they're all super young and they're getting better. That's going to make your team better. That's just pure facts right there. That's right. Chris comes saying, my first pick is the Duke center. Second pick is Carter Bryant. He can be the new OG. Now maybe I might have to go revisit Carter Bryant and look at him a couple more times because I did like when I looked at him last time as far as like his defensive agility and how long his arms were and just kind of his get after it on the defensive end. So you know what? I might be coming around on him too because I'm seeing him in the round that part of the draft too for around the 9th pick. And he could be a legitimate like power forward. In some ways, I trust him more than Newell and Murray Boyles because of his length of his arms and how long he is. And he has more muscle on him than Bailey. So in some ways, Carter Bryant, maybe we'll have to see. Maybe next week's Thursday think tank will be on a weird player that we didn't even think because things are developing more now. Yeah. Neil's saying also, Lex, true centers don't typically give good returns in the first round. Get better return for a point guard or a power forward. Pick up Maxime Reynal in the 2nd round. I don't know if this is true. I don't think this is actually true. I don't think this is true, Neil. Because this is the thing. With big men, you can kind of tell already with their specs whether they're going to be fast enough or not. And the reason why Malawach is a good prospect up at the top is because much like Olajuwon, much like so many huge centers in the past, they have the agility and they have the certain kind of specs. That is absolutely a slam dunk. You want to get size. There's a reason why the number 1 pick in the draft over the years, a lot of times has been a center because that is the hardest position to get, the size. So I can't get behind you on this logic right here, man. Because listen, a lot of the big men that come, if you're thinking like Jokers are in every draft, no, they're not. It's very rare that you'll find an NBA center in the 2nd round that will stick around and play in this league because a lot of the really good centers get sussed out and they get picked in the lottery. So I can't get behind this, man. I think you're absolutely 100% exactly wrong with this comment, Blackhawk. I think you're exactly wrong with this. In some ways, we could say this Reynal person is going to be good, but do you really think so? You remember people like Radojevic and maybe what was the other guy's name? Arujo. I mean, even those guys were like in the top near the draft at the top, and they were still busts as foreign centers. So I can't get behind this. If they're really touted and stuff like that, to get a sleeper center in the 2nd round, like a Nikola Jokic, is very rare and very, very difficult to do. Very difficult. Kareem saying, are you willing to trade up in the draft to guarantee Malawach for our 9th pick and 2nd rounder? You know, that was the first thing that struck me in this situation is if we're not going to be able to get him at 9, I may be willing to trade some things to move up a couple of spots in the 1st round. That may be smart. And, well, we'll have to see if that's the smart thing that they're thinking, Bobby and Masai. That may not be totally out of the possibility. That struck me almost immediately after when we were thinking about the ninth and where how can we get common at the ninth? Well, the best way to deal with this is try and move up, try and trade some stuff and move up in the draft a couple of positions, and that would help us. Even if we got to seventh again or sixth, like sixth or seventh might do it. Maybe fifth. Maybe fifth is the one we need. Stargate saying, unless Bobby and Masai do a Glenn Grunwald move and have a team above them pick common and do a draft night trade for Antoine and Vince, that's also a possibility. But that has to do usually with compensation and other kinds of things and stuff like that. Yeah, that could be a possibility there. We'll have to see. It has to be a team that likes us, though. Neil's saying, I don't like that. It's like betting the farm on Malawatch instead of building up good assets. I can kind of see Neil on this one because in some ways it's like, let's just naturally let Bobby and Masai pick where we are. And if we do a trade up, what is going away from us to do that? And like Neil's saying, is common really worth doing that kind of added expense, not just the first round pick, but trading assets to move up in the draft to draft him for sure? That's an even higher price is what Neil's saying. So I'm with him on this comment 100%. Yeah. Seymour saying Pop is loved in San Antonio like Lieutenant Dan from Forrest Gump. That's a weird comment, and we'll give it a dunk because that's just weird, man. You're saying he's loved like Lieutenant Dan on Forrest Gump. That's so weird, man. That is so weird, man. That's so popcorn shrimp, tiger shrimp, jelly shrimp, brown shrimp. Yeah. Green said the Leafs are a good team, top 5 in the league, but there's a ghost in Scotiabank Arena that they can't shake. Woo! The ghost of Howard Ballard. I'm just saying, build this team to beat Florida, damn it. What are you doing, Shanahan? You're running to the same damn wall. Build this team to beat that one team specifically, and you might actually get really far because of that. Who cares about the rest of it? Just get a team that will beat Florida. Jesus, come on now. What's up, Freak Nation? Brian's here. Dap, the King Brian. What's up, my guy? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever time it is. You're watching the Raptor Freak stream with Alexiot and the King, Brian. Brian, you want to call me? It's the call-in show. You have my number. You can call in and chat with us, talk about Derik Queen with us a little bit here, see what you feel about the taxes. That's right, the taxes comment. Let's see. Smooth saying the biggest issue with the Leafs is that they have a big four that don't show up in the playoffs. Correction, only one of them does. William Nylander. There you go. Leafs are a great regular season team. Big T's. So they're like the Cavs. They're being the Cleveland Cavaliers of this playoffs for the NHL. Well, there you go. There you go. They got a big four too in Cleveland. They got a great regular season team, but they didn't have nothing to beat the Indiana Pacers. So the Indiana Pacers are the Panthers. I got you. I'm starting to figure this out. Kareem saying, what the F does Queen know about taxes other than TikTok and Twitter memes? Dude is effing 19, can't even drink. I hate when someone says something and it becomes a stigma. Well, it could be that he just has one dumb relative say, well, you go to Canada, you're going to be paying the taxes. Oh, no, I heard that. What? It's the most taxes. It's the most taxes? Oh, man. And then boom, he's telling the press something his uncle told him. Something like that. Uncle Dennis. Uncle Dennis, you sure? The taxes are high up there. Yeah, there are most taxes. The most taxes. Sounds like I don't want to go to Toronto. Ooh, the most taxes. The most. Blackhawk said, really, we are upset about a kid bringing up taxes. I'm a day away from 54. And hell, I don't like taxes too. Taxes are an integral part of society. People make a boogeyman, and honestly, there's the stigma on taxes is stupid because honestly, people are going to be paying taxes in the United States to give money to billionaires now. So all y'all fall for like taxes as a boogeyman and stuff like that. I'd much rather pay more taxes in Canada and see good roads and services and libraries and police and firemen and parks and services for poor people to help them get out of the park. All this kind of stuff. Meanwhile, Americans going to be paying taxes for bombs and billionaires' wallets. So they ain't going to get nothing from their taxes. So maybe they'd be upset about taxes in the States, but at least we get something for our taxes as citizens up here because we don't have a crooked, kleptocratic president that's stealing all the money from the top to give to all his billionaire cronies, friends. And meanwhile, we are actually paying taxes and we actually get police officers and highways and parks and social services for people that need them as a safety net at the bottom. Meanwhile, they're going to cut all the social safety net down there and people are going to starve, people are going to die. I'm just saying, that's not the boogeyman word. That's another word that's loaded with a lot of hate by different people. You hate taxes? Well, taxes are an important part of civics and having society. We're less civilized without taxes and services for everybody. We go more into an evil, sad, isolated world where I'm on my own, you're on your own too, and we don't have a goodwill for each other. That's what I say to that right there. Boom goes the dynamite. And yeah, we are making a light of this, Neil, because it's not a good first comment from a young draft prospect about Toronto. Yeah, we would judge him for this. I mean, we're sussing everybody. And in some ways, this is a really big red flag immediately that makes you think, well, maybe you don't need to be coming to the Raptors, young man, is what I'm going to say. So we can act like this isn't a big deal, but it is. It's a big deal. It's a sign. And it's a big, U-turn away from Derik Queen is what it is right there. Shere Khan's here. Good to see Shere Khan. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. The playoffs and the draft lottery has been crazy this year. Looking like Indiana, New York conference finals. I'm looking at Yak or Fears at point guard. Maybe Queen or Malawach at center. We have a solid starting lineup. So see, I like that Shere Khan's looking at two positions particular. I wasn't really going to look at point guards, but I'm starting to get disappointed in certain big men that are around that part of the draft. And I don't think Common will be available at 9. So it may be we are pivoting to look more towards Jeremiah Fears, somebody like that. Good to see you, Shere Khan. Glad to see the voice of Raptors Tonight, the best question asker at Raptors Tonight, coming in and seeing us, the former Rookie of the Year, Shere Khan. That's right. Stargate are saying true, Blackhawk. Queen said something nothing inaccurate. We all know he is right. However, should he have said it? It's a tune and time and a place, situational awareness thing. Yeah, that's not the way you make a good impression. Hi, I'm a reporter from Toronto. What do you think about coming to the Toronto? Oh, I hear it's the most taxes. Knucklehead. Stupid. Dumb. Maybe not smart enough to play for the Raptors. We need an intelligence here. And in some ways, Derik Queen's not showing intelligence by saying that. That's right. Most saying, good to see you, Shere Khan. Yeah, it's awesome to see him. Blackhawk saying, Chris Paul is talking about Raptors because Raptors is a clutch hub. Or Chris Paul, you mean Rich Paul. It benefits Clutch to get Giannis to Toronto because Clutch clients can feed off of it. What I say, okay. Nah, Rich Paul just needs to shut up, man. He's done enough damage to this league in different ways. In some ways, once again, I will say the whole thing, Will Smith, Chris Rock, take our name out of your mouth is what I'm going to say right there. That's what I say to him. Chris Paul, I'd much rather him talking about the Raptors than Rich Paul. That's right. So we're saying when I say best since Vince, I mean the fluid nature of how BI can score. Kawhi is a bulldozer. Oh, you mean like finesse and like kind of like athleticism? I don't know. I still see this in Kawhi. I don't know, man. Maybe it's like I get what you're saying. It's apples to oranges, but I'm saying on the level of that kind of scorer and that kind of like presence and being able to do stuff. Vince, Kawhi, Brandon, same category. RJ's somewhere on that scale too, close, and he's young. He could get there even more before he's done. That's what I'm saying. Most giving me the cutoff. W stream, W vibes. Go Raptors for life. Keep at it always, Lex. Raptor free crew, strong forever. Just helping me limit the comments. Y'all, we're gonna run out of time. We're not gonna get a call today. If you want to call into the show, the phone line is open. The number is in the Discord server. It's on the Facebook group, and it's in the YouTube channel in the community section for members. So if you want to call, you could be the only call today if you want to. That's right. Neil saying, we don't need Cedric Coward. No Coward Dick on our team. We need Maxine Renault for our second round pick. Maybe. If we don't get the center in the first round, we go small and get pick a point guard. Then the center in the 39th pick. Yeah, that might be a good project there. I could get behind that. And you're big on this Maxim guy, eh? Cool Cat's here. Good morning, Rapid Freak crew. Cool Coach Cool Cat. Joining late, but still wanted to shout out everyone. We are in the era of lots of chatter about Raptors, Masai, and also Giannis rumors. Lasai. Yeah, we've kind of tackled those comments and rumors on the channel already. If you didn't see it, you can watch back the beginning, talking about my responses to both things there. Randolph's here. Good to see Randolph Phillips on his birthday week. Good morning, beloved Raptor Freaks, most informative gang. Your future is determined by the direction you take and the choice you make. Be deliberate and intentional about your future. Yeah. I mean, it's like DeMar said, you make your future by your focus, by your habits, by where you put your attention. And there you go. Make your future powerful by putting your attention in the right places. There you go. Blackhawk Sam, Rashir Fleming is the new OG. Well, we'll have to see. I got to start doing some of these other things. You know what? Let's do the straight goods on the Canadian goods. What are we talking about today? We're talking about right here. We're talking about where is it? 2-for-1 pizza, y'all. 2-for-1 pizza is a Canadian franchise chain of quick serve pizza, headquartered in Toronto, out of the district of Scarborough. That's right. This place is out on Progress Avenue. If you guys know where Progress Avenue, you know 2-for-1 pizza. It has 62 locations across Ontario, predominantly in Southern Ontario. The chain has expanded throughout Canada with stores in Newfoundland, Manitoba, and Saskatchewan. 2-for-1 Pizza was founded in Toronto in 1986, and it's all over. Coffee Time's parent company, Chairman Brand Corporation, acquired 2-for-1 Pizza. So the same company that owns Coffee Time owns 2-for-1 Pizza. So if you want a Canadian company, Canadian Pizza, 2-for-1 is that kind of pizza, y'all. You know 2-for-1 pizza. So there's your straight goods on Canadian goods. Get some Canadian pizza. 2-for-1 pizza. That's right. 2-for-1. All right, let's see. Mo's saying, a reminder for Raptor Freak crew. Mom and I are having brunch next week at the restaurant. So the sooner you let me know you're coming to celebrate with me, the better table setting, etc. Are you saying you want us to come to the brunch with you guys ahead of it? Or are you just I don't know. I'm going to do this, Mo. In the next couple weeks, I'm going to ask people who seriously is RSVPing for this, so I can kind of give you a number of how many RFF may be coming. So when you guys kind of understand, like Cool Cat, hopefully you can come, and other people like Adriana and other people that have said they want to come. Evelyn is saying she's coming, like Mo said. That's fantastic. Granny Evelyn will probably be there again this year. When I get more of it closer, I'll get a true RSVP from the RFF for you, Mo. Okay. But yeah, I want people to start telling me, like, yeah, I'm really strongly considering coming down there. Kareem, I hope you will come because I've still got some prizes I need to give you for like 2 years now. Need to give you some prizes that you've deserved and stuff like that. Maybe I don't know if Peter and David are going to come. They might. They came last year. If they know about it, maybe they would come again. That'd be great. It'd be great to see David and Peter at Mo's birthday party. They were there last year. So we'll have to see. Randolph saying, Lex, we must remember that Masai told us that they set things up for good for when good disgruntled players become available. So let's trust front office to do their job. Yeah. And this is the move. Giannis, Kawhi, this is the move. This is the finishing move for Masai Ujiri as a GM president. Is he likes to go get the disgruntled star that's a high caliber and be an opportunist in that situation and maybe even fleece a little bit. Yeah, this is true. Randolph is just speaking the truth right here. That's right. Blackhawks saying that Maxime Renault is 7'1" French, which matters because they're turning out players like a factory. He played behind Wemby. He can shoot. I don't want Celtics to get him. Yeah. I mean, they got Frank Cornette already. What do they need a backup center? But yeah, I mean, I'd love to get a 7-footer this draft. If we get him on the 39th pick, that's fine with me. But I do want to get a true 7-footer. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Blackhawks saying, damn, your Brian imitation is pretty good. Which Brian did I do? Brian King. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Yeah. I love Brian. Brian's awesome, man. That's my guy. Yeah, To The Point, y'all. Y'all watch To The Point on YouTube. It's a good channel. Most saying, I've started looking at some names last night, Lex, in reference to the draft. I saw you posting stuff on Colin and Asa Newell. and different people. I've seen you're doing your deep dive on stuff. Mo's been working on looking over the draft stuff. So, I'd love for you to call me and let me know what you're thinking right now, Mo. You can give me a call on the Thursday Think Tank call and show if you feel like it. Blackhawks saying, what did Vince, DeMar, Kyle pay? It's not what many think. You can work in Toronto, but pay your taxes based upon your home location. There are forms athletes, actors, consultants can fill out to get taxed based on their home location. This is totally true. It's a kind of bullshit, honestly. In some ways, honestly, and this is the truth. And I know because my family's US and Canada, and there's money transferred in different ways. In some of the situations recently, there's actually more money to be made being in Toronto Raptors because of the tax situation. The valuation of the Canadian dollar to the American dollar is often not very good. And if you come here with American dollars, you're going to get way more for your money here in Canada. So it's actually so dumb that sometimes people cite the taxes because in some ways there's financial advantages to being here in Canada. And part of it is what Neil's saying here is you can base your taxes on being at home. I don't know how much the Canadian government, if you're an American employee of a team that's partly an American organization, the NBA, how much Canada, in some ways, I don't know what they're doing in getting their part of the salaries of the players. I don't know it all really well. I'm not a numbers person. But there's also advantages. And I'm sure if they have the right financial advisors and they know how to do things with loopholes and different things, like what Neil is saying, they call their home location their home back home, and they do their taxes in the States anyway. It sounds like this is just full of shit BS, the tax thing. Seriously, because there is some ways, because of the way that the Canadian dollar and the American dollar fluctuates, that this could actually be an advantage for an NBA player playing in Canada. I'm not going to lie. Seriously. Now that they're complaining about taxes because everyday products that they're out and about buying, or there's even in some cases, some of these players are so ignorant and not really smart that they don't realize that the Canadian dollar isn't worth as much as the American dollar. And they come to Canada and they see the prices higher than for objects that they would get cheaper in the US, but they don't understand that the Canadian dollar valuation is. And that's part of the problem sometimes too. I'm serious. That's part of it. You got to remember, some of these guys are coming up here and not realizing they need a winter coat. They come up here, they see the prices at the drugstore, and they say, well, Pepto-Bismol back home was this much. Why is it so much more here? Taxes. And they don't even think that it has anything to do with the Canadian dollar's worth different than the US dollar. That could be part of it too, seriously, with this thing. Blackhawks saying fears will be gone before 9. Well, we'll have to see. I know I trust my front office is going to make the best decision, whatever the parameters are in that instant when we get the 9th pick and go into the podium. That's right. Shirkan saying hi to the super fan Monique Lawrence. I love that. You should come down to our birthday celebration, Shirkan, at the NBA restaurant on June the 7th at 5:30 p.m. We're going to be celebrating Monique's birthday at a birthday party at the NBA restaurant. You should come down there and meet us in person, man. It'd be fun. Reggie saying, whomever the Raptors draft, they better be ready to play. Yeah, they better be. That's right. Blackhawk saying, I'm not judging any kid on things they are ignorant to at their age. Yeah, Mala Watch will fall to 9 anyway. So that'd be nice. That'd be ideal. We'll have to see. Maybe there'll be some draft stock fall for him. All of a sudden, they're saying, oh, no, he just said something weird in this way, or his combine stats haven't been that great, honestly, in some ways. So we'll have to see. Most saying, yes, thank you, Lex. Appreciate it so much. No problem. Always happy to be interacting with one of my favorite friends in the Raptor family. And that's the super fan Mo. That's right. Cool Cat saying, Lex, if the Raptors go big game hunting, are you prepared to trade Sky for Giannis? No, I've already said this. Like I said earlier, I said my part on Giannis earlier. I gave my trade that I would do in Milwaukee. If they don't want that trade, I don't want to talk to them. Scotty is off the table. We don't rip the heart out of this team out just to get Giannis. Giannis is not a heart replacement for our team. He's not the right heart. Scotty is. If they really want Giannis to come here, it's got to be Brandon Ingram, Ochai Agbaji, and the 9th pick is the deal I'll give them. I'm not giving them anything else. They're not getting RJ. They're not getting Yak. They're not getting Grady. They're not getting Scotty. They're not getting Emmanuel. That's the only deal I do right there is Ingram, Agbaji, and the 9th pick for Giannis. And that is the deal. And if you don't like it, Milwaukee, I don't care. We don't have to do a deal with you. That's what I say right there, coach. That's it right there. Ingram can go. Ingram has not even shown up yet. They really want to, if we really want to get Giannis, we tell them, well, we've got Ingram on an extension. You'll get him for a long time. We've got him on contract for a while, and he can be your franchise player. And we'll even send Ochai Agbaji home. He's from Milwaukee. He'll be coming back home. You can have a hometown hero on your team, and you get our 9th pick, and we'll take Giannis off you then. And then we'll have Emmanuel Grady, RJ, Giannis, and Scotty and Jakob all on the same team still. Yeah, that's the only way I do it, Cool Cat. And if Bobby's listening to me, you strong arm and hold strong, like I just said. That's the only way you do it. Scotty's off the table. You don't do nothing with Scotty when it has to do with this situation. That's right. So, yeah, let's do a recap real quick. We are getting close. 5 minutes till 2 hours. I guess I can do the classic card real quick. Let's do that real fast. Let's see. We've been getting – they're not so classic these days. They've been a lot of current players that we've been pulling from the cards. We'll see what we get today. I don't want one of those team cards again right now. Okay, yeah, we'll do this one. This is not totally classic. It's not totally current either. Who is this player, y'all? Full name answer, please. And you will get the classic card points for today. Who is this guy? On the day that the Nuggets will probably get eliminated by the Thunder tonight, we got a Nuggets card. Who is that? Former Denver Nugget on this classic card. Full name answer is only accepted. If you give me a half answer, it's a half-ass answer, and you may get Seagold. You don't want to be Seagold. Who is that? Who is that? He was on the Nuggets at one point. That's right. Who is it? Paul Millsap is right. Stardeem. Stardeem, who are you? You're a new name. Welcome to the Raptor Freak channel, and you have gotten yourself some classic card trivia points. So I got to put you on here, Stardeem. Wow, interesting. Is this another name for somebody who's already a regular on the channel? Is this like a backup name? I just want to know who you are. That's not Stargate under another name, is it? 100 points for Paul Millsap. Either way, Stardeem. And I'll put you in. And yeah, you have entered the chat. Boom goes the dynamite. Let me see. Just please tell me. Yeah, good job, man. High five. Stardeem. Welcome to the channel. You get the classic card. And this card will be at the NBA restaurant on that Saturday, June the 7th, in the classic card box. And these are free. I give all these cards out to anybody who comes to the thing. That's one of the perks. Come down to Monique's birthday party. You get to look through the classic card box and just take whatever you want. I really do give everybody these cards. Like if you like this Paul Millsap, man, yeah. Oh, you're a subscriber who's here every now and then. Okay, so you are a different person. That's awesome, man. Well, welcome. And I appreciate you chiming in and getting the card. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you subscribing to the channel and watching the channel. And, feel free to talk anytime. I just like to watch and kind of take it in. And there aren't like one of the regulars who's always talking. But, yeah, good to see you, Stardy. All right, let me do the wrap up, guys, since we're right at 2 hours. Yeah, they're saying that Derik Queen's historically bad combine score. I'm already lower on him. Than most. However, overweight tweener, can't shoot, can't defend, but his combine score of 6.2 is historically bad. Here's a list of other centers with combine scores of at less than 10. Please keep him as far away from this team as possible, is what this Raptors fan is saying here. This isn't a lottery pick, let alone a top 10 pick. So this guy's really saying, like, no to Queen, just like a lot of us are saying right now. So that's a pretty big deal. That's kind of interesting how he went this way with him. Let's go look at the Raptors Reddit reactions. Pascal's untouchable, and Pascal untouchable and Pascal trade talks with the Warriors. But yeah, we'll give them to the Pacers, and then the Kings and the Hawks are in the water. Giannis is reportedly interested in playing for the Raptors, is what we're hearing. I think it's a good time to remind people that what Ingram can bring to our squad. So there's a highlight of Brandon Ingram breaking some ankles here and like just hitting some crazy shots, Slim Reaper style, just like Kevin Durant. Here we go. Somebody on Raptors Reddit is saying the Raptors are the best Toronto team to cheer for. They're run well. They're well coached. They're the only team over the past 15 years that more often than not overperforms expectations and has a reputation for doing so. Even this past season, when they effectively tanked, they outperformed their preseason over-under to a chagrin of a team tank. Even when they are purposely bad, they execute being bad in a way that's not offensive to fans. So easy to cheer for this team compared to their Toronto counterparts. I love that. So somebody's just saying, I love this team is after the Leafs have what happened to them last night. Sources: Hawks have Toronto's Masai Ujiri on their front office wish list. Oh, wishes are so nice. What did Masai say? We all want Kobe. We all want Messi. We all want these people. Doesn't mean you get them. That's what Masai himself said that. Yeah. Yeah. He said, all right, Derik Queen said he's met with 5 different teams so far at the draft combined, including the Raptors. I've never been to Toronto. I heard it's nice, but I've heard they've got the most taxes also. Some leak sources I have spoken with suggest Malawatch is high on the radar for the Raptors, while others with knowledge of the Raptors' thinking push back on the idea. Interesting. So that's an interesting thing. DeMar DeRozan is expected to be on the trade block this summer. 5 likely landing spots, including the Lakers and the Raptors. Man, let that man go to the Lakers. Seriously, let him have his dream. I hate the Lakers, but I know that DeMar wants to play for the Lakers real bad. So let that man go to the Lakers, LeBron. Stop messing with him. Let him come there. Seriously, this is what Colin Murray Boyles had to say about Raptors. Young roster, rebuilding. Just got Brandon Ingram, great core, great group of guys. They're tough, switchable. They're just everything I feel like I can fit into. That's what Colin Murray Boyles is saying. That's pretty good. Jeremiah Fears said this about Toronto. Toronto is great. I know they're looking for some specific pieces in the draft, and hopefully I'm able to work out for them. See, these are the kind of comments you're supposed to make, Queen, you idiot. You're not supposed to be making this crazy, like, stupid stuff. There's a picture of Yak down by the river with a basketball. That's an interesting picture. What is that picture about? I've never seen that. Anyway, yeah, in just a couple of days, the Raptors' odds to land Giannis have just shot up. Seriously, y'all. We got the 3rd best odds. Milwaukee's number 1, Houston's 2nd, and we are 3rd now, ahead of the Lakers and all these other teams. That's amazing. All right, Raptors Reddit, you're a lot here today. A lot going on there. Happy birthday to former Raptor Antonio Lang. Antonio Lang is 53 today. So happy 53rd birthday to former part-time Raptor Antonio Lang. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Crazy. Wayne's saying, you work in Canada, you pay taxes. Not very difficult. So they see, this is a part of the problem. In some ways, you can have to pay taxes in both countries. And that may be where the problem is that in some ways, I don't know. I really do believe that some ways that Raptors get tax exempt status from Canada in certain ways because they are working for an American company as Americans. And even though they work in Canada, I don't know. It's a weird thing. Because you could also make the argument that like 29 out of the 30 times, although half the time they're at home here, they're working in the United States half the time too. So I don't know. Either way, I don't want to get bogged down in this taxes talk. It's too bad Derik brought this up, honestly. Yeah, maybe Derik turns into Jared Sullinger. Exactly. That's that player type. Seriously. Yeah, I can see this, James. I've heard they have the most taxes. Yeah, the worst taxes. Yeah. Cool Cat saying, if we're interested in Giannis, it means we switch to win now mode. Well, we're in win now mode anyway. This isn't a switch. When we made that trade to get Ingram, we're in win now mode now. Yeah. I mean, we weren't because he didn't show up and we were doing things at the end of the season. But when we hit the ground running at the beginning of the season, Cool Cat, that's the mode we're in already. We don't have to get Giannis to be in win now mode. We just already made that move to there. Fiercey saying, if DeMar goes to LA, it should be with the Clippers. Lakers are career killers unless LeBron leaves. No, not in this situation, especially since Kawhi's in Clippers still. That ain't going to work. No, he needs to be a Laker. And I don't care if it career kills him, because in some ways his career is going to be over in a few years anyway. This is about making a dream come true. And it is the purple and gold. It's not the Clippers. I'm sorry. I'm talking about for the kid that grew up in LA, not that far from Inglewood. The kid that actually was like a huge Lakers fan. Seriously, I know this about DeMar. He is always on the down low, wanted to play for the Lakers. And that just does not work. Even if LeBron's there, it doesn't matter. In some ways, DeMar, is he chasing the title at this point? Well, not really. He's been spinning his wheels since the Raptors traded him. And in some ways, the Chicago thing was a fail. The Sacramento thing has been a fail. It's not even really about any of that at this point. In some ways, if he goes to play for the Lakers, it's a childhood dream. It's like Kelly Olynyk playing a year for the Raptors. And that I want for him, especially since he should have went there when Russell went there instead. He should have went there then. And you know what? The Lakers would have done way better the last couple of years if DeMar DeRozan had joined their team instead of Russell Westbrook. And that's what I'm saying is like, get out of the way, LeBron. Let DeMar have his childhood dream. Put him in that purple and gold jersey. And just even if he only plays 1 or 2 seasons for them and then he retires, that's what I want for him right there. Yeah. It's a childhood dream. That's what it is. And like, seriously, do you think about how awkward that would be if he showed up at Intuit Dome, Steve Ballmer's team, and Kawhi's in the locker room with him? That's awkward. That's awkward. It's always awkward to play with players you got traded for, no matter what. It's really awkward. Yeah. It's really awkward. Yeah, you forgot about Kawhi. That's right. All right, I'm over 2 hours. I got to get finished. So, Queen, it's crazy. Like a 24-hour drop in your stock so fast. Just from one out-of-pocket comment, like the Raptors were seriously all about maybe probably drafting you. The fans were into it, but we're not anymore. I think there's a very strong sentiment now that we are not interested in Derik Queen. A lot of us have changed this just in one day. Wow. Whoa, man, did you screw up, Derik Queen? In some ways, man, you didn't come to the combine right with your athleticism. Yeah. This is money, bro. You're messing with your money. That's right. That's right. Cool Cat saying DeMar has to decide if he's doing it for the money or he's going it for the chip. King's not a chip-ready team. Those aren't the only two options. Let's just put it that way. It's not necessarily about the money for DeMar. It's not necessarily about a chip. He's put to rest that he doesn't care if he wins a chip or not. It's not going to define his career. And it shouldn't, honestly, because he has an amazing NBA career, one of the top 30 all-time scorers in the history of the NBA. If you get into the top 30 all-time scoring list, you're a Hall of Famer. And it doesn't matter if you win a championship or not. So his legacy is complete. It's just if he wants to add that little bonus on the end of playing for the Lakers just for fun and joy, kind of like DeMar, kind of like Kyle playing for Philly. It's a similar thing. It's a very similar thing, guys. It would be very sweet to see just for sentimentality. I don't know if he even cares about if they pay him a lot of money or not. If he could just get that jersey on his body and play for a season with them, I think he'd be overjoyed. Seriously. You know, Kyle and DeMar used to always get up to play against the Lakers. There's a reason for that. So I don't think that those are the two choices. I think there is a choice that says sentimentality and just a childhood dream. That's another choice too. All right. Yeah. Last night, the Warriors were eliminated from the playoffs by the Minnesota Timberwolves. Good job, Chris Finch, former assistant coach of the Toronto Raptors. And good job, I guess Jaylen Brown, and leading the Boston Celtics in a very good route over the Knicks. The Knicks looked out of gas. Some of y'all were saying in the chat on Discord that the Knicks look like it's finally catching up with them. The overwork that Tom Thibodeau does to them with the overplaying the starters and never playing any kind of bench or anything like that. It may be catching up to them finally at this point because they looked like they were absolutely out of gas in the third quarter last night. So I'm just saying, we'll have to see. Come back to New York and win it in Game 6. Maybe, Knicks Nation. Maybe you will be celebrating then. Referees for tonight in Denver with Oklahoma City. It is Game 6, and it is 3-2 for the Thunder. Mark Davis is the crew chief. He favors the Nuggets. Referee is Kevin Scott. He favors the Thunder. And the umpire is Mitchell Irvin. He favors the Nuggets. So that's your ref crew for tonight's game. 2-for-1 pizza, y'all. Get your Canadian pizza on at 2-for-1 pizza. That's right. And that's it. That's pretty much it, guys, for the stream today. I appreciate everybody being here. Congratulations to Stardeem for getting the classic card of the day today. Let's go. And I got to go drop Letitia Am I here because she's not on a team anymore for the WNBA. Oh, Kaloy just showed up. Morning, Lex and Raptor Freak fam. Knicks look vulnerable. Pacers going to go into the finals, guys. Well, I was saying earlier, wouldn't it be weird if the Celtics actually do still win this series and put the Knicks out because of Jason's not playing? And then all of a sudden, the Pacers are playing the Celtics again, but this time they don't have Jason Tatum, and then the Pacers beat them in the Eastern Conference Finals this time. Wouldn't that be an interesting storyline? The Knicks run out of gas. They're better without Jason Tatum, the Celtics. They beat the Knicks after all. And then it's the Pacers and the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Final, and the Pacers absolutely destroy the Celtics this time. Could happen. We'll have to see. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching the Thursday Think Tank. I'll be back with a Friday freak out tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah. Let's go, Raptors. Trust in Masai. No to Giannis and Atlanta. Unless you are willing to take that trade, I said, that's the only way I want Anna to come to. That's right. Let's go, Toronto Raptors. Let's go, Raptors.